Six Pack Lapadat, and this is it. This is the USAPL 2019 preview show everybody's been waiting for. I got my man Matt Gary. We got some expert scouting involved. Matt is the best of the best when it comes to it. But real quick off the top, let me give a shout out to fusionmuscle.com. Use promo code KOTL25 to get 25% off of all of your supplements, and they have everything. Multivitamins, creatine, pre-workout, they even got protein. Do not bother driving all the way to a store, wasting your time, wasting your money. Get 25% off of all of your supplements. They got everything you need dropped off right to your house. FusionMuscle.com and promo code KOTL. And with no further ado, let's get the show going. My brother from another mother. How are
What's
you
happening?
doing,
What's happening?
How you doing? Is it? Do I look all right? It looks like I got a huge light in the background. Is that distracting? Let me tell you.
No, not to me. It's all good.
Okay, good. So how you feeling, my man? It's been a bit. Last I seen you was Sweden. Been a few months. Been a few months, my man.
Yeah, life is good, man. I'm just burning the candle at both ends, getting all these people ready for nationals. So.
Yes, I know the feeling. We're recording a podcast like every day, it seems. And editing, we got video on this time. We're doing some video. This one's on video as well. So yeah, man, nationals is always wild and crazy. And looking at these nationals, looks like we got some battles coming. We have the return of your man Ray. Everybody's excited. And we got a couple people returning. And some interesting showdowns. And I know you came prepped. You told me, give me a few days. You want to come 100. You are known as the scouting master. So what are we looking at here? Do you want to do this? How do you want to run it down? Do you want to go day by day, do you think? Or do you want to do, how do you think we should do this?
That's your call, man. Are we recording now or are we still waiting?
100%. So don't drop the F-bombs just yet. No, we're recording. We're recording live. We're going. We're all in.
Well, yeah, it's your call. I mean, the schedule's kind of weird this year. It's a little bit out of order per se. It doesn't flow like a normal meet because they decided to have the lighter guys on the first day. So, I mean, if you want to go in the order of the days, I mean, I'm fine that way. Might feel a little jumbled to your listeners, or we can just go, straight up, men's classes first or women's classes first in the order that they're, whatever, man. I'm flexible. I'll roll with the punches.
Yeah. Okay. I think let's do, you know what? I don't think we should split men's and women's. I think we should mix them. How do you feel about that? Let's mix them up.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you want to just go, we're basically talking about the open lifters primarily, and that are going in prime time. So if you want to just go in order, we'll just go in order of the days. So that way it'll be kind of ping pong back and forth between men and women, and they'll get equal amount of love.
There we go, man. There we go. So all right, let's have it then. Let's start off day one.
Yep.
I don't have it all pulled up in front of me. I made notes.
That's okay. Yeah, day one in the prime time will be the 59s, 66s, and 74s. So that's the very first day is going to be men only.
So interesting to me. Here's a note that was interesting to me when I'm looking at the 59s. Cole Metz at now is this not the young man who went head to head with Fedoshenko at the Worlds in June?
Yeah, he was. He was in Sweden. He had a little bit of an off day that day, but that's the same guy. Yep.
So when I was commentating, he first off is a massive 59 kilo guy. He looks tall. All those other guys are, if they're 5 feet. This individual Cole is by no means. You see him, you'd be shocked. He's 59 kilo. He looked like a dude from The Walking Dead when he hit the platform. He must have cut so much water. By the time deadlifts rolled around, he was puking on the platform. I mean, It was a mess. And I remember as a commentator saying, I think he took a medal here. You know, he did a decent enough showing, I guess, but he looked like he was not having fun, and that's to say the least. Like, he looked like he was on death's door. And I remember thinking, this is probably, he's outgrown the weight class. He's just gotten too big. He's 20 years old. Maybe as a teen, he could do the cut and make it. And I remember thinking, this will probably be the last we're going to see of Cole Metz, who looked like he's having a miserable time. You know, literally at the end, puking on the platform. And then in the medal ceremony, looked like he's like, oh man, somebody bring me to my bed. He's not going out for beers. So I was shocked to see him down as 59 kilo here. Were you shocked too? Like, do you have a little more insight? Was it the weight cut in Sweden, do you think? Or was it something else? Because clearly something was wrong.
Yeah, he weighed in Sweden at 59 on the nose. So yeah, I think he struggled with the weight cut and with the travel. And frankly, I'm a little surprised that he's stuck around in this class as well. With a lifter of his build and frame, you would anticipate that he wouldn't, you know, like you said, would outgrow the class and transition out of it, you know, a little sooner. But here he is, and he's the number one ranked lifter on qualifying nominated totals. And so, I mean, there's a little bit of pressure there. Plus, he's, you know, coming off of our representative from Sweden. So
it's I know what he's thinking in terms of, I mean, he's by far if he can pull it off, he's by far the number one guy at 59 kilo. He's also probably thinking, historically speaking, prime time, because it turns into a prime time, sometimes the 2-hour weigh-in stretches a little more. So he's thinking, hey, look, maybe if I'm going to kick out of the 59 kilo class, I'll have the day I wish I had. And if I'm going to have the day I wish I had, A, no travel, B, I wouldn't be mad if we start a little later than anticipated. Would be mad at that. If we weigh in and it turns into 2.5 to 3 hours, you know, would be mad. So maybe he's thinking, let me write this wrong, then I'm out. The only problem is, if the turnaround's quick and on point and it's only 2 hours and it's, oh my God, it wasn't just the travel, I'm just a much too large of a human, he could just be signing up for another miserable day. Either way, he is my pick for the 59 kilo. I think disaster really has to strike. I've seen the man puke everything up and still put together a decent enough performance that he should be able to win, even on his worst day. So I think as long as he makes weight, and that isn't a long ass, because I swear when I see him on Sweden, he looked like a dude from The Walking Dead. He looked like he had died 3 hours before, and he just didn't know it yet. If he can make weight, he's our pick. But of all the guys on here, he's the one dude who I'm the most iffy about making weight.
Yeah, that's certainly a concern. I think I'm going to shock everybody. And you know, it's funny because when you try to follow him in his lifting, he hasn't really put any thing on social media, and so he's kind of a tough nut to crack in terms of tracking him. He I think just doesn't post anything at all, quite frankly. So his social media is kind of dead from that respect. So there's really not a lot to go on. I mean, and frankly, you know, I mean, I'm kind of cut from that cloth too. I mean, I like the fact that people play it close to the vest. You know, why you don't see football coaches handing over the playbook to their opposing teams prior to the Super Bowl. I understand that powerlifting is a little bit different, and at the end of the day, you can only do what you do. By the same token, you know, you don't want to tip your hand too much. So clearly he plays it close to the vest. However, looking at these other lifters in the weight class, and there's 6 of them that are going to be lifting in prime time. You've got Mike Coons, who's a returning veteran. Mike's been in the game for a really, really long time. He'll by far have the biggest squat, undoubtedly. I had the good fortune of coaching Mike in Sweden at the World Cup in 2012, where he went head-to-head with Fedosienko, and they tossed the world record back and forth in the squat. Oh, wow. And so Mike's got a 245 kilo squat behind him. The problem is that, you know, we're talking world class, world record squat material. You know, his American record is currently 242.5, which is 2.5 kilos over the current world record held by, I believe, is it Kevin Gray from Australia? I believe so. But anyhow, and Mike did a 245, I believe, at a local meet, so that's why it's not counting as an American record. But nevertheless, what comes back to haunt Mike a little bit is his hands in the deadlift, you know. It's difficult for him to hold on to anything in the deadlift. So anyway, that being said, I'm going to pick Coons to come in third. I'm going to take Metz at second. And I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I know I'm shaking up a little bit. I'm going to take Charlie Yang coming in first. Been following his training a little bit. And he just recently put up a 207.5 kilo squat in training, which is 10 over his nominated number. And it looked comfortable. He also represented the country at Bench Press Worlds in Japan, and I know that was a single lift meet, but he hit 142.5 in the bench over there. So it stands to reason, and that's been a minute. I mean, that's been a few months, so I suspect his bench is on the come up as well. And he also just recently posted a 260 kilo deadlift that was laughable. I mean, it looked like a warm up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Charlie Yang at number one.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. Looking at it, I was thinking if Cole doesn't show up like Cole historically, if he shows up and has another Sweden day where he's half dead, Charlie. I'm going swinging Charlie.
Yep.
Cole at 20, he's getting bigger, not smaller. He's weightlifting. The side effects of weightlifting, surprise, surprise, you gain muscle mass.
Yeah.
Right? So it does look like Cole's probably thinking, I want to leave on better terms in Sweden, and he just might have showing up, and Charlie's like, well, guess what? I got plans as well, young man.
Yeah.
I got plans as well. I'm going to send you on your way taking another L. So we'll see. It's definitely, Charlie was the other guy that I was looking at if Cole looks up like he's just has to chop off every fingernails, hair, freaking 3 fingers just to make weight again, then we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So what about the 66 kilo gentlemen? Our reigning world champion and Raw national champion Charles Apoko is not going to be lifting.
Correct.
Which is kind of shocking.
I
mean, he's a back-to-back world champion. Definitely would have been my pick, but decided I'm going to step out from this one. And now it looks like we have a battle of the Garcias.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be between these two gentlemen. They're not related.
No, I don't believe so. But they did place second and third last year, respectively. Jonathan placed second to Charles, and then Morgan placed third. And that being said, really, when you look at their totals from last year, it was Jonathan missed 3 attempts at nationals, and Morgan missed 4. And it was really, really close. So it came down to just Jonathan kind of missing fewer. Their nominated totals are so close.
Yeah.
And Morgan's got a slight edge in deadlift ability. So, I mean, this could really, come down to kind of, pulling last and so forth. Jonathan's got that significant lead in the squat. So, and Jonathan's got a background in equip lifting. He started in equipped in 2012 and then transitioned over to Raw in 2016. So, he's used to having heavier weight on his body via the equip lifting. But yeah, this is going to come down to a battle. And it's interesting with Rodrigo Manzo also. If you look up that guy, he's coached by Joey Flex. He went 3 for 9 at Raw Nationals last year, which is like inexplicable. Like I don't know what happened. I didn't really follow that group other than Charles last year. So it stands to reason that if Rodrigo makes more than 3 attempts, which I fully expect he will, for him to kind of improve on his showing as well. So but it'll be interesting.
It's when people show up. And some of the totals we're looking at in previous performances we're looking at are you missed 3 times, missed 4 times. When dude misses 6 times, it makes it a lot harder because history is the best predictor of the future. And when it's a one-off like that, you're not going to do back-to-back meets, back-to-back national showings where you're doing 3 at a time. Only getting 3 lifts in and just barely not bombing out. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. We got to take picks, so I'm going to throw this out here. Ordinarily, I'm going to go with the bigger deadlifter because they got the winning lift in their hands. And more than likely, Morgan Garcia is going to put the winning lift in his hands. Unless Jonathan can push it to an extent where he's like, my friend, you're going to want to protect your silver and stop hunting for the gold. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think Morgan's going to have the winning lift in his hands. Having said that, you might think I'm leaning towards the Morgan route. I'm going to pick Jonathan for the win. I think Johnny Boy's got this. I think Jonathan Ascends takes the 6 kilo throw. And I think Morgan, I think he's just going to be pushed too far and not be able to pull himself into it and ends up taking the silver. And then our Joey Flexman takes more than 3 lifts and he takes the bronze, nestles in there. And that's the way I see it rolling out. What are you thinking?
I concur 100%.
Yeah. No major surprises. I mean, it's a tight race. And, I mean, if one of these fellas, like if Jonathan starts missing again, the whole thing shakes up. That's the problem where if it's a wildfire, if it turns into a wildfire fight, everything just throw it all out the window. You can't go, if someone else goes 3 for 9, well, that shakes everything up. But I don't think lightning strikes twice. I think for these gentlemen, everybody's on their A game and misses far fewer, and it rolls out kind of like the nominations would suggest.
Agreed.
So let's talk about the 74s. Now the 74s are getting heated underneath Taylor Atwood. We have Taylor Atwood, the king, not just of the 74 kilo kingdom, but Taylor and his following would suggest king of powerlifting in terms of the IPF. And the IPF Lifter of Lifters Award went to Taylor would also suggest king of powerlifting. He's coming into this tournament. He wants to make a statement. It's not just the 74s that he's trying to dim their hopes and tell them, hey, guess what? There's a new SBD Invitational, 300K on the table. You're not going to get invited to that. Not this year, and not for any year to come for a while to go. Taylor wants to squash some hopes. A lot of these contenders got some hope, and there's reason to it. We'll dive into that in a hot second. Taylor is also eyeballing Russell Orkey and anyone else who might challenge him for the Best Lifter Award. The Best Lifter Award has gained importance now that we talk about the SBD Invitational. Not just because, obviously, the Best Lifter Award is the U.S. Raw Nationals. That's great. Nice caveat to have. But the next big meet's going to be the SBD Invitational. And the showdown we see at U.S. Raw Nationals will act as a bit of a preview because we suspect that the SBD Invitational will look a lot like an Orhe versus Taylor, throw a couple of other names in there, but it'll be a lot of people coming from the U.S. Raw Nationals. So here's a bit of a preview, so there's a lot of significance on the line here. Taylor understands it. I'm full well expecting Taylor make a push into the 800 kilo total range, which is absolutely freaking crazy. I remember when Brett Gibbs was on the cover of the IPF magazine because he's an 83 kilo lifter who hit 800. And it said big, bold, 800. And now look at this. Now we're talking about 74 kilo guys. And when this was in ancient history, this just a few years ago, it was a massive deal. 83 kilo guy hits an 800 total. Now Taylor's more than likely going to hop into the 800 kilo total range. I think he's too far ahead. I think most of the other 74s will tell you this year we're not going to touch Taylor. However, second and third, my man, it's almost like sometimes you say, wow, flip a coin, I don't know. For real, I've been thinking, when I think about this podcast, when we had this coming, I can be talked almost any way. Mm-hmm. I'm between Tran, Austin Perkins, Ricky Cho, and Michael C. Michael C's a world champion. Ricky Cho, silver medalist, broken world records, world class also. And then Austin Perkins, University Cup, international experience, just a phenomenal lifter. Actually out-totaled the fellas who were at the World Championships in Sweden. Yeah. Now, they would tell you, hey, if I had to lift what I had to lift, I'd lift what I have to win. So fair enough. But nonetheless, and then we have Kevin Tran, who everybody's like, don't sleep on this kid. He doesn't have the international experience as other fellas had. When we had the 74 Kilo Boys podcast, we didn't have him on because I just grabbed the fellas who had made the U.S. national team already. And you have to stop somewhere. 4 people was already a lot. So you got to stop somewhere. But easily, hey, moving forward, he's going to be invited. He's a guy in there. Ricky Cho, who's an outspoken individual. And that's probably the nicest way to say it, okay? He speaks his mind, shoots from the hip, and he's hip when he shoots. Says, I'll tell you right now, I think Tran's number 2, I put him above myself. You know, I put him above everybody else here besides Taylor. Mm-hmm. So, and then beyond that, even beyond those individuals, I mean, 74 kilos stacked rate, all top 10. one of these guys in the top 10 has a great day, and some of the fellas at the top start missing. I mean, they're that close. It's that tight. I'm seeing in training some of these guys, 20 years old, hitting some numbers that's ridiculous. So their nominations, you could almost throw them out the window when you're that age making that kind of gains. Very difficult. Austin Perkins, before we start saying the picks, Austin Perkins actually said, look, I'm 20 years old. When you saw me do 747 and a half and unpushed, watch what I'm gonna do at Nationals, and by next year, if I make it to a Belarus national team, I'm looking at 800. I'm looking at 800. And he's 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know, he's a kid. He was a teenager a few months ago. Like, that's insane. You know, it took forever for us to see an 83-kilo guy reach 800. Now we're talking 20-year-old juniors who are barely out of the teens talking about, watch me to 800. With all that being said, I think we're both going to pick Taylor, or am I crazy? Or you got some kind of weird scouting report? We're picking Taylor, right?
100% Taylor Atwood. He's the best powerlifter on the planet, and he's unbeatable unless he gets hurt.
Yeah, fair, definitely. What are you thinking for your second and third?
Yeah, so we're going to have, in all likelihood, you know, it's fun. Like you said, I listened to that podcast where you had all those guys on. We could have 4, possibly 5 guys squat over 600 pounds.
That's ridiculous.
It's insanity. You know, and we're also going to have all of these guys pulling, you know, a lot of them pulling in the high 6s, close to 7, with a couple going over 700 pounds, which is just, you know, it's insanity. But it makes it really, really fun. Looking at all of these lifters and doing my research, and this is going to probably shock you. So we agree Taylor's going to win. So we're looking at who's going to take second and third. At third, I'm going to go ahead and take Ricky Cho. I really feel like he's going to do better under Joe Stanik's tutelage. I think that was a good move for him, hiring a coach. Not that he wasn't doing well without one, but I think that Joe's a smart guy, you know, from TSA. I saw the last deadlift that Ricky just did in training, 305 kilos, which is, you know, 12 and a half over his nominated deadlift. So just phenomenal there. So he'll be one of the later guys pulling. I've got him coming in third. And I've got Austin coming in second. I do. I have Austin coming in second. So that means that these other guys get pushed out of the medals.
That's crazy.
It's like you said, you know, it's not an easy pick. But, you know, Austin's been doing some equip lifting since 2016. Like you said, he's young. He's only 20. One of the things that I really noticed and liked about Austin is he's been on body weight now for almost 3 weeks. And so we're talking about somebody who doesn't have to cut.
He doesn't
and
cut.
Watching.
He's small. Yeah.
He's on. He's on body weight. And so some of these other guys that have to suck down some weight, you know, I mean, you know how that goes. And so I really like it when somebody can be on or practically eating up till game day, you know, and have their gas tank full when they hit the platform. So I've got Ricky coming in third. I've got Perkins at second, and of course Taylor the King at number 1.
Here's what I'm thinking. And look, I'm telling you, I can be swayed real easy. I mean, I honestly believe Austin, there's something about Austin, the way he carries himself. I think this kid's the future. This kid is 20 years old. And I don't know, it's not even like he said a lot on the podcast. It's the way, sometimes it's the way somebody carries himself. You're like, this guy's got something. He's something special, right? And the way he even said, look, I asked the fellas, does it mean a lot to you if Taylor stays and you unthrone him on the platform, or Taylor leaves and you end up just having to beat his old number, but it doesn't happen on the platform, doesn't happen in the field of play, the whole new king moment, and he shakes your hand, whatever, the passing of the torch. And Austin's like, I tell you what, it's going to happen regardless. That was his answer. His answer was, I tell you what, if he shows up to the party or not, I'm going to be the king. It's going to happen regardless. And you know, the way he said, like, look, I'm going to hit 800. I don't know if he's hitting 800 in this U.S. Nationals. I'm hitting 800 by next Worlds. There's something about him. I think he's the future. Now, having said that, I'm going to pivot on the dime on you right now. He's 20 years old. His last total, 737 and a half. I think he's going to best it. I think he's going to move up from it. But I don't think his future is this quick turnaround at this Nationals.
Okay.
And I say that I think the kid's the future, but there isn't a big enough space yet for him to reach his potential yet. He's going to be a problem. But for this Nationals, I actually got Tran coming in second.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm picking because from what I saw in the like on training videos, you know, it's not the same as the platform, but with these fellas, they're young. And I haven't seen as much as him as some of these fellas who hit the international. Hopefully that changes in the future. But with the deadlift that I've seen in the gym, I think he'll be able to load up the pull for the second. And if it comes into that scenario, I'm going to lean towards him just because of that. I think his deadlift, I've seen him pull 7, and that's silly. That's silly. How is a guy who's 74 kilo pulling 7 when he weighs in at 163 pounds? That's 317.5 kilo for any international listeners, viewers. I'm going to lean, if the situation is this tight and everybody's neck and neck and neck, and I can't, and I'm staying up at night and I can't make a pick, I'm going to lean towards my man who I think might have a 700-pound, 317.5 kilo pull in him. I don't think he's going to actually pull that, but he's got something up there. I think Ricky's going to have something crazy up his sleeve as well. The deadlift that wasn't there for him in Sweden, I think the deadlift will be there for him. I think going with Joe Stanek was a good idea as well. Having said that, I'm going to pivot again on you. I'm pivoting a lot. I'm like Neo in the Matrix right now. By the end of this, I'm going to take Michael C for third.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll tell you why. 441-pound, 200-kilo bench press by a 74-kilo, 163-pound man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, his bench is booming, and he does create such a deficit for the other lifters. So that's, you know.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Yeah, it's a lot of ground to make up for the other guys.
It's silly. And his deadlift. Oh, and by the way, his deadlift right now. So he'll squat 6. We're talking about a bunch of these guys squatting 6. He'll squat 6. Bench press. So 272.5 kilo for, I got to keep remember, we got a huge international following. He'll bench press. If he hits 200 kilo, 441, ridiculous. Oh, and by the way, his deadlift just happened to come to the party now. Oh, and by the way, he's deadlifting up well into the 600s. He could be into the mid-6s. We don't know yet. I don't know where, but his deadlift has come alive. And if he pieces together a subtotal like I think he's going to, he doesn't need to pull 700. He doesn't need to pull late 6s like Tran and Cho are going to have to. So I got him for my third, and I'm telling you right now, if you want to talk me into Michael coming in second, you could. If you want to talk me into Ricky coming in second, if you want to talk me into Austin coming in second, I just told you I think Austin's the future. I'm all over all these guys. I'm having a tough time. I gotta pick. I can't shy. So there's my picks. But honestly, in 2 to 3 years' time, when these guys are fully developed, you know, Austin's 23, Ricky, all these guys are all like now mid to late 20s. Forget about it. This is the division. You can't look away. The Champion of Champions award is always going to be coming this direction. And I mean, maybe Russell, but you know what I'm saying? We're in terms of like how many guys vying for it. This is too close. We're not talking a showdown between 2 individuals. We're talking this is like a cluster. I don't know who's going to beat who.
Yeah, it's loaded, and that's good, and that's hat tip here to the coaches and to the people who are going to be coaching these lifters, because that is going to be absolutely critical, getting the right numbers on the bar, particularly in the squats. Obviously, you don't want to miss a third squat because that usually creates fatigue and hurts the deadlift, and then obviously just running the numbers at the end. So the coaching is just going to be critical, but Look, this is a session that you don't want to miss.
You got guys, even guys like Zach, Gage, those dudes, if the guys on top, here's the thing, those dudes on top, if they miss, and because they're pushing each other, when you push, you're pushing me, I'm pushing you, so you're reaching, I'm reaching, we miss a couple, well, guess what? Zach, Gage, these fellas are like, oh, hello. La Puente, hopefully I'm not butchering his last name. These dudes like, oh, hello, door just swung open. Yeah, I'll walk through that door anytime. These guys are capable. All of them could end up top 5. If you're in the top 10, you could easily be in top 5. In this division, you're world class. Everyone in the top 10 is world class.
For
no
sure.
doubt about it. No doubt about it. I could do a full episode of 74. Do you want to throw something else in there?
I just wanted to give also another a shout out to a masters lifter, one that I'll be coaching. I'll be coaching Eric Townsley, who's the M1. He's the returning champion at M1, and he's going to be in a dogfight again with the same gentleman that we locked horns with last year, Jason Jackson. So I'm looking forward to working with Eric. He's coached by the strength guys, Jason Tremblay. And so I'm going to have the good fortune of tag teaming with Jason, and he and I are going to coach Eric. And I'm looking forward to big things with him in the M1s. He went to Sweden and took bronze. He just had a really good prep, and so we're going to try to go 2 consecutive years here, back to back, God willing.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's Nico as well. Yeah, they got the 74s. We could do. Seriously, man, we could do a full podcast and we could really drill into all of their numbers and crunch so many different scenarios where you could shake up the entire rankings except for probably number 1, unless disaster completely strikes. And that would be one of the biggest upsets. Because Taylor, again, he's not just the champion, he is the champion of champions. He is the number 1 guy in the world right now in powerlifting, not in the sport of powerlifting, not just in his weight class. Which just makes the 74s even more spectacular. I just wish, I can't get greedy, but looking ahead 2 to 3 years, my God, man, it's gonna be crazy to be predicting. It's gonna be insane, and Taylor's finally gonna have the battle that we all wanted him to see.
Sure.
Now, having said that, let's move on to day 2, my friend.
Yep. So in day 2, in the prime time, that's when the women come to the party. We've got it'll be the 47s, the 52s, and the men's 83s. So maybe let's take a look at the ladies since we just did the guys.
Yeah. Let's do it exactly in that order. I'm going to shock you right now and say I'm going to pick Heather Connor. Okay? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to use all my expertise in scouting. Now, if you don't know about her, Matt, you're going to want to look her up because she's quite good. She's quite good. Deadlifting damn near with 4 times her body weight. It's ridiculous. She's like if they make Ant Woman a movie, that's Ant Woman right there. And I say that lovingly. But she's 100 pounds soaking wet and shifting 4 times body weight type deal. What's her whatever? She's hit with a bullet. Number 2 and number 3. I'm not as hip to the 47s. I'm gonna lean on you for that. If you got, is it super close to call, or what are we looking at? 47.
Yeah. So just looking at the girls who are coming to the party for prime time, you've got Sally French, who placed 4th last year. I don't think that she's going to have quite enough to break into podium level. Natalie Freed, she placed 5th last year, just gives up quite a bit of a deficit there in the squat. She's a little bit better in the deadlift, but I don't see her breaking in. So I'm going to go with Leia De Cesare there, coming in 3rd. Fun fact, if you check out her Instagram, she's into bladesmithing and making knives, and she's also does some pole dancing, which explains her bench press prowess, hanging upside down on the pole. So, she'll definitely, I look for her to take the bench, but I've got her coming in 3rd. Mallory Brown, looking at her, this is her very first nationals.
Mallory's one to watch.
Yep. But I anticipate Mallory taking 2nd based on just the little bit of information and the meets that I was able to track her at, which were, I think, regionals and then also some local meets. And then, of course, we got Heather, who's just, unstoppable at number 1. Kind of in a similar situation to Taylor, barring some sort of catastrophe, it's hers to lose. So
I'll echo and say exactly that. Obviously, Heather. I'll take Mallory for 2nd, and the Blade comes in 3rd.
There you go.
And I'll echo those. And she also picks up a nickname off the show. How do you like that?
There you go.
So 52s is a little more interesting. 52s, we got, these guys have seen enough of each other by now. Inda and Tina Tornado clash again. Okay? Inda has been very successful at the national level and world level, picking up a world title. Sweden was a little rough. Not the greatest of circumstances, but I think she's looking to rebound here. Watching her training, She's been shifting some weights. She's been, she looks strong. I think she's going to come in on her A form. And due to that, Inga is going to be my pick for the 52 kilo. And I'm going to take Tina Tornado for number 2. And number 3, what are you thinking? What are your picks? I'm gonna listen to a bit of your breakdown here because number 3 is a lot harder for me.
Yeah, so just looking at, I'm going to go ahead and pick, I'm going to agree with you on the first 2. You've got Marisa coming in number 1. The one question with Marisa and both Tina, both of them have their struggles in the squat. They both of them have a tendency to miss squats on depth. I know that Tina's been kind of banged up lately. I think she's been battling some hip and back issues. So if Tina is able to salvage some of the squat, I anticipate that she can continue to push her bench press, which is just a sliver behind Marisa's now, and the deadlift to take second. For third, I'm going to go with Sophia Rizzuto. She's also coached by Joey. She's shown some significant improvement in the squat. She just hit a very clean 145 kilo squat in training. I don't know how much she's over on body weight, but it looked very comfortable. I actually anticipate her out squatting Tina and Marisa, frankly, just because her squats, it look, convincingly deep and so forth. So I've got Sophia coming in third, Tina coming in second, and Marisa coming in first.
All I got to hear, buddy. And she'll be my third pick as well. We're rounded off.
Yeah.
Now, the 57 kilos, that's in the same day?
Let's see here. Are the 57s on the same day? Also, I'd be remiss, obviously, if I didn't give a shout out to my wife competing at 52. She decided, so my wife, Susie, current open world record holder in the squat at 52 at the tender age of 51. Yeah, so she's still got the open world record. She declined the opportunity to lift in prime time. She's just lifting as an M2 because she's going to Dubai in November to lift at the Equip World Championships. So she's just going to kind of coast in the M2s. No disrespect to the other ladies, but Susie's at the level where she could probably win with warm-ups. So she's actually just going to take it easy, kind of secure the W to hopefully qualify her to maybe do some stuff at NAPS next year. But, so I just wanted to give her some love. And no, the 57s are on the following night. So we're done essentially with the women.
We got 83s? Is it the 83s?
Yeah, we got to go with one of your favorite weight classes, the 83 men.
So here's what's funny for me when it comes to 83s right now. Obviously, we have a world champion in the mix, and he's going to be the heavy favorite. Russell Orr, he's shocked. I knew he was good coming into Sweden. I didn't know he was that good. I mean, he looked all types of special. Beating a guy as established as Brett Gibbs for the title, when Brett was coming off of the heaviest 10 times body weight total we'd ever seen, being in the 83 kilo class, the first in the 83 kilo class to do it. Brett, after Calgary, looked like he'd be unstoppable. He looked like, the sky's the limit. If he hits 830 in Calgary, God knows what he's going to hit by the time we got to Sweden. Russell came, put together an equally phenomenal day, broke Brett's world record, and since then in training, the squats he's hitting, the deadlifts, he hit a 740-pound deadlift. What that equals into kilos off the top of my melon. I don't have my
It's 335 kilo deadlift.
Ridiculous. His squat,
yeah.
It's just the numbers he's shifting. Oh, and by the way, in Sweden, got a bronze medal for bench. Bench used to be his Achilles heel. Now he's winning medals at the World Championships in his worst event. And the two guys that beat him, Owen Hubbard and Brett, who are some of the best bench pressers you'll see in the world. They take the world record and toss it back and forth like a volleyball. Those are the only two gentlemen who outbenched Russell Orhe. And that was his Achilles heel previously. So if you're an 83 kilo lifter coming into nationals and you're thinking, I hope I want to unseat the king, it's going to be, in a word, difficult. It's going to be difficult. Is that fair? It's difficult. That's that, right? That would be my assessment if that was my lifter. Wow, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. We're going to need some blessings. We're going to need. Russell's got to miss. I don't think Russell is going to miss. The only way Russell starts missing is if individually the 83 kilo boys start ganging up on him. Like for instance, Jamar is pushing for a 700-pound squat, 317.5, pardon me. That will be a shade under 700 pounds. If you want to be the first 700-pound lifter, don't make that mistake, Paul. It would be 318 kilo would be 700-pound squat. If Jamar and individually they start pushing him, and Russell's like, I'm not giving any ground in any event. I want the biggest dead. I want the biggest squat. Then he might start missing. But if he's like, look, I'm going to play conservative. And my conservative at this point is probably 830. If I push it, it could be 850, 8 whatever. His conservative, I don't think anyone's catching him. The only way he misses, the only way he might lose if he's like, I'm not giving an inch. I want to do ego lifts, so to speak. He still might just, God knows the day he could put together. But let's say that's the only ways if he starts missing by just being like, let's just start shooting from the hip and go willy-nilly. But that still might not be enough. He might have a decent enough spread. Because walking in here, the closest gentleman behind him would be Sean Noriega, who also entered the 800 kilo club. But Sean isn't 100%. And his last 10 videos I see are all bench press videos. And I know squats were troubled by his injury, and I haven't gotten a whole sugar load of confidence based off of the fact that he hasn't shown his squat in God knows how long. So if we're entering a bench press only, I like Sean's chances. But if your last 10 videos are all bench videos, I'm like, man, what's going on, man? Now, maybe he just posted one today and I didn't see, but I don't think Sean's 100. I don't think he's 100%. I'm not convinced anyways yet. Maybe he is. If he's 100%, he's in the 800 kilo range. I don't think he's going to shore up on him and get close to 850 range. Muscle Man Marcus, I had him on the podcast. He hasn't put together his 9-for-9 day, his super meet, so to speak. Hasn't put that together. I am very much interested if Muscle Man Marcus can put together his 9-for-9 super meet. I think he also enters into the 800 kilo range in terms of total, and I think he's now in the hunt. I think Russell is a safe bet for being the champ. I think Russell will squat over 700 pounds. Whether I think Jamar, shout out, my man, can threaten to hit the podium if Sean or Muscle Man Marcus start missing attempts. And because Jamar, what he's putting together in terms of his squat, absolutely phenomenal. He's starting to come into his own as well. So I think he will also, I think Jamar will squat 700. Who goes first? Who's the first 83 kilo lifter to squat 700? Depends on lot number, whatever, luck of the draw, we'll see. But I think, and this is somewhat controversial maybe. Okay, so I think Sean is probably the pick for second if he's healthy. Marcus third again, but I don't know if Sean's healthy, and I'm starting to lean more and more toward Marcus the closer we get, only because when I had Marcus on the podcast, he does sound healthy, my friend, and he sounds very confident, and he's talking like this is the super meet. This is the meet finally, where Sean had that meet and pulled off his 800 kilo. Sean, though, I didn't have a chance to have him on the podcast. Maybe he would have talked to me one other way, but I don't see, it looks like he's still injured. And him injured, I don't know if I got him on second. What are you thinking? What are you scouting? Am I wrong? Is Sean, does he have enough in him? Because I don't know where he's at.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he's at either. I know that he had a knee injury, and so to your point, hasn't been sharing a lot of squat videos lately and putting a lot of stuff out there. The last time that I did see him squat, it was in the mid 500s, around 240, 250 kilo range, something like that, and it was for sets and reps, mind you. But he's going to need something more significant, and over 600 pounds, over 272.5 kilos to kind of be relevant. So if you want me to give my picks, I'm going to go ahead. I want to mention a couple other people as well before I actually give you my picks. So you've got somebody who's pretty prominent on the powerlifting and social media scene. You've got Johnny Candido competing.
He's back. I love to see it. I love to see my man Johnny. Nice guy.
Yeah.
Help push the sport forward.
Yep, he's really helped push the sport forward. I had the good fortune of helping him a little bit in South Africa at Worlds in 2014, and he just competed locally here in Maryland. Last month, he hit that 740 kilo total. So I'm not certain how much he can kind of tweeze out of that, so to speak, in terms of improvement.
But that's a best for him ever.
Yeah. That's a PR.
I was very happy to see that because he'd been flirting. He'd hit 701 like years ago as a junior and just could never get back. And the fact that he's gotten back to 740, very respectable number. And I think the turnaround's a little quick to expand on that. But looking to the future, I would love to see Johnny all of a sudden in the mix. Top 5 at least. Like he's excellent for the sport.
Yeah, he gets held back a little bit in the bench, but he's got a big pull, so I think he'll be relevant there in the deadlift and can kind of make some moves if some of these other guys miss. When you look at some of the other names, David Shelton and Carson Allen, they both also are kind of in a similar situation where they just hit PR totals at our regionals back here in August. So the question becomes how much improvement can they show, on game day in terms of being able to tweeze out additional kilos as well. So in terms of my picks, when you talk about those top 4 dogs there, you're talking Russell, Sean, Marcus, and Jamar. I like the fact that Jamar is working with Bryce Lewis now. So he's being coached by Bryce. And I think I think Bryce is going to, I talked to Bryce the other day because I'll be coaching him and more on that later in the 105s when we get to that discussion. But Bryce told me that he really has been enjoying working with Jamar just because he's so focused on himself and kind of has blinders on, so to speak. To your point, he does have the lot number advantage. So,
does he? Is that how he does? I didn't know that was already established. Okay.
Yeah. The lot numbers have been released. That's on the public roster. So in terms of those guys, in terms of all the guys that are kind of in the mix, Jamar Royster's got the highest lot number, followed by Marcus and then Noriega, and then Russell's got the lowest. So in terms of that whole squat thing kind of going back and forth, the potential for a 700 plus squat, that could come down to lot number. That'll be really interesting to see kind of when the openers get flashed up on the board, but I suspect also, Bryce is smart and pragmatic. And I think that he's going to, I know that he'll probably let the rope out a little bit with Jamar, but he also doesn't want to risk missing a big third squat, if that's going to hurt him in his placing. So all that being said, and I do like what Marcus has been putting out there. To your point, he's never gone 9 for 9. So assuming that he can do that and this cut doesn't affect him too much, because I know that he drops a lot of weight, like he said on your podcast.
He's thick. I post him and people like, dude, this dude looks like he's 220. How tall is he? He looks 220.
It's incredible. Yeah. So, but I've got Jamar coming in third. I've got Marcus putting together a good meet and coming in second. Unfortunately, because of Sean's knee injury, I just don't think that, I think he's going to probably give up too much ground in the squat to these guys. And, he'll obviously have the biggest bench, and he should be relevant in the deadlift, assuming that his knee isn't bothered too much. He has been posting a couple deadlift videos that look solid. But I've got Jamar at 3, Marcus at 2, and I'm telling you right now, this is not even going to be close because Russell is going to knock this thing so far out of the park. I fully anticipate him to go 850 plus, 855-ish, maybe even 860, but definitely 850 plus if he doesn't take his foot off the gas and if he doesn't miss. This class is not even going to be close. It's Russell and then everybody else. He's elevated his game. He's taken it to another level now where in terms of what's out there at U.S. Nationals, it's Russell's meet, and then everybody else is fighting for the remaining 2 spots. So,
do you think? And I agree with you that I don't think anybody's going to be able to catch up to Russell, even if Russell starts missing. Even if he's like, I really want to you could do it at a local meet where you're like, I feel like I'm going to swing for the hills, and if I miss, it's okay. It probably still is because he's just that good. That's just how far ahead he is in the big picture, not just even in his weight class. Now, having said that, you might know where I'm going with this, not just in his weight class. Whoa, where am I going with this? Well, we got our man Taylor, who Russell and Taylor, they're in the same position where their weight classes are stacked with talent, And they are so uber talented, there's too far for their weight classes, which are talent rich, to catch up to. But they have each other. Seeing how we just did this, before we move forward, who do you think wins best lifter between those two? It's going to be between those two, I'm assuming.
Yeah, for sure. Now, yeah, I mean, Russ has the advantage of going after Taylor. So, lifting the day after, I don't know if that's going to be on his mind. But since we don't give out best lifter awards at our nationals, I mean, it is for bragging rights, to your point, and it is to kind of increase that street cred, if you will, going into
Taylor
the show.
Taylor is already bragging.
No. I'll say this. I'll go ahead and pick Taylor in terms of the IPF score, simply because Taylor doesn't miss, and so I think if you asked me to pick which lifter was going to miss an attempt first, I would say Russell would miss before Taylor, and that's no disrespect to Russell whatsoever. He knows that I think the world of him, and he's a class guy and a hell of a lifter. But I just think that Taylor is simply the most. He's just got a laser. He's laser precise, man. And it's almost a surprise now when Taylor goes out and misses a lift. So I suspect that Taylor will have the highest IPF score. But once again, Russ has got the advantage of lifting the day after, so he could plot out his third deadlift to put something on the bar to say, you know what, my friend, I'm going to go ahead and take that score from you.
I'm going to put in numbers real quick. What do you think Taylor does in terms of a total?
He's going to be over 800. Yeah.
Do you think 805, 810?
Yeah, if he really puts his foot on the gas for that third deadlift,
he's going
man.
to. I mean, insider information right now.
Yeah.
I've been talking to him, DM wise, and my man is piecing together a historic day. Let's talk. Let's go big. Let's go big for both of them. If we're estimating, I don't know if you can't see it on the screen, but I got the IPF Wilks calculator in front of us. Let's just take a look real quick.
I'm looking at it myself too.
So what do you think? We'll say 810.
Yeah.
810. Are we looking at a 900 Wilks?
Well, here's fun fact. Let's say that Taylor weighed in at 74.0 on the nose, and we both know he'll be a little bit under. He needs 807.5 to hit a 900 IPF score.
He can do that.
Yeah. Which is
ridiculous. So for history, we think is going to be made with a 900 IPF points score. I think Taylor. I'll say Taylor 810. Is that crazy? Is that crazy, or do you want to shoot down to 807.5? Maybe he's telling himself, you know what? Let's just do 900 exactly. Let's not get too crazy here. Let's do the first 900 IPF points total. So we'll do 807.5. There we go. Because that's probably his goal. Like, if you're thinking, why risk 2.5 kilo, which is a weird arbitrary number, 807 to 810, who cares? But the first to 900 points, everyone remembers the first. Everybody.
Yep.
Let's rock and roll here. He's probably, if he didn't say this to me, but I'm thinking if he's gunning for something and he thinks I'm probably too far ahead of anyone in my weight class, I think he wants to be the first to 900. Let's do this. He does 807. That's my prediction. Now, that's what I'm thinking. Let's take a look at.
The problem is Russ needs 867.5. So to hit a 900 IPF score. So that's another, and I think 807.5 is a little bit more realistic for Taylor than 867.5 is for Russ.
Having said that, I'm not going to name drop, but I've had individuals in the know, not associated with Orhi in the Joey Flex camp, so there's no bias. Like, obviously, you're going to back your camp, who have approached me and said, I'm not kidding you, it would not shock me if Russell hit anywhere from 850 to 870.
Wow. Yeah,
if they can put together, if he puts together, a 7, God knows what, bench, or squat, sorry, bench, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then pulls 740, 335. If he pulls in this range, I mean, is it crazy to say 867 and a half? It could. It depends if he's threatened at all. If he starts missing and he's like, all right, come dead, so let's just shore it up a little bit and jog home with 850. It depends on how squats go, doesn't it? If he misses the third squat, things change.
Yeah, it does. It depends on how the squats go. He's been called on depth occasionally. So I mean, that I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that could happen. I mean, this, so yeah. The thing is also is that Russell cuts a little bit more than Taylor does. Taylor, walks around a lot closer to body weight, and that is yet another reason why he's just the total package. I think
though Russell actually, he was on the podcast. I haven't dropped the podcast yet. I'm going to.
Yep.
But he actually hasn't been called on to miss the squat for depth. He said in 2 years.
Yeah,
So I don't know. This is like you know when you hear people say about his squats being high in the gym, you hear it enough times. I don't know if we're starting to make something up that telling ourselves this is a storyline. Watch out for his squats and depth because it's an issue. When he pulled out a stat and he goes, look at it. If we're honestly going by stats, I haven't missed a squat due to depth in years, my friend. And then all of a sudden it's like, if that's true, I don't know. I don't know what's possible. I think Taylor's. I'm sorry. I think Taylor. I think you're right. Like, look at probably 807 and a half is more realistic for Taylor than 867 and a half is for Orhi. But by the SBD Invitational, I think we're starting to get closer and closer.
Yeah, man. That's a whole other show right there that we're going to have to dissect.
I won't get too ahead of us. You're right. Well, that's a whole other show. You're right. This, we'll take it day by day. I'm getting ahead of myself. But we could have two people covering new ground. I do think, here's a prediction. I think Taylor Atwood is gunning for the 900 IPF points. He wants to be the first in history to make it, and I think he does it. And I think he establishes himself even more so as the king of powerlifting. And there you have it. And he'll be your favorite because of that going into the SBD Invitational. Although, we'll see where he ends up. And if it's a close race, or he could be like, look, I'm don't count me out just yet. But I think that's probably fair.
Yeah, right on. Agreed.
All right, my friend. Is there anything else we should say about the 83s before we move on to the next day?
No, I think that's good, man. We've covered it. When we look at Friday, we've got the women 57 and 63, followed by the men 93 on Friday.
Okay. Now here, interesting. The 57s are very interesting.
We're guaranteed a new national champion.
Guaranteed a new national champion.
That's right.
57 kilo class is always very talented, as well as the 63s. And a lot of because you're guaranteed a new national champion, the previous champions have left. The previous, we're talking, we've had world champions coming out of the U.S. national 57 kilo classes left. Jennifer Milliken, national champion, world champion, leaving. Megan Scanlon, national champion, world record breaker, had a world record total, by the way. Just got inched out of a world championship, left. So the 57 kilo class, which was land of these lionesses that are all, the resumes super stacked, now is open for a new field. And these young ladies in this new field are thinking, hey, opportunity knocks, and I'm going to answer the door. So they want to punch the ticket to the world championships. And if you're on the U.S. national team, you know your chance. You know your championship, potential of podium and possibly take a world title. Historically speaking, it's there for the taking. Records could be made. Reputations established. My picks, and this is tough. This is tough, Gary, because these young ladies, it is an open field right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm going on historically what I've seen in previous nationals. I'm going on what I've seen in training videos and some gut instinct in terms of guttiness. And it's a little bit, I'm rolling the dice with the 57s because we don't have the established names sometimes I'm thinking when I look at 57, this is the class I'm gonna roll the dice with.
Yep.
Let's get crazy. Let's get crazy here, Gary. Okay?
I'm with you.
I woke up crazy. I'm gonna go to bed crazy. So I'm gonna take Chrissy Max Power. Okay? She's gonna power up. And she's gonna take the 57 kilo throw. And she's gonna put that on ahead and carry it into Belarus. Christina Paracci, hopefully I'm not butchering your last name, sorry. She's working with, I believe she's working with either Bryce or his outfit anyways, if not Bryce.
She's working with Eric Bodhorn, TSA.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
But she's working with TSA. Phenomenal athlete, made top 5 last year. We've had a bit of a shakeup. Her training's gone very well. She has a confidence to her. Also, I love the way she deadlifts. Her name, Max Power, she literally powers up before every deadlift. Doesn't do it for a show. That's how she takes her breath. You'll notice it now that I said it when you watch the live stream, but she takes the breath, it opens her arms up, and it literally looks like a video game where your character is powering up. And I love it. I'm all in now. And she's always flexing. She's jacked up and ready to smash some weights. And I got a feeling about her. You know, sometimes you get a feeling about a lifter. I got a feeling about her. I think she's gunning for the throne, and I think this year she takes it. So I'm going to take Chrissy Max Power for that. Now, roll into the dice again, because we're just having some fun here. Okay? This is the fun division. I'm going with the teenage sensation. Miranda Chambers. The teen queen. Okay? Teenage sensation. Young, youthful, in her prime. Prime of her life. No worries yet. 19. Do you remember when you were 19, Gary? You didn't have a worry in your life. Okay? Not a worry in her life right now. And I think she's going to, I'm taking her to take second. I think she's going to make fast gains because she's young. When you're 19 years old, this is fact, you could get shot in the leg the next day you wake up and it's healed. Wolverine recuperative powers, these kids. Okay, that's that. When you're young like that, that's what it's like. You got Wolverine recuperative powers. I think I'm going to take her for second, and Brittany, I got Brittany for my third. And I know, look, at Brittany, you could talk me into taking Brittany for first as well. You could talk me into a lot of things when it comes to 57 because Brittany is an absolute monster as well in there. And I am not looking past Brittany at all. I'm just rolling dice, having some fun because I honestly believe 57 kilo is so open. These young ladies are very close in kilos, very close in terms of capabilities. Neither one of them yet has snagged a national title. Neither one of them yet has made it to an international competition. We don't have that dossier on them, and I usually see a lot more of you when you go into the international scene. So does everybody else. I'm not saying nothing for anything different. If I'm just going off of this, I'm going to roll the dice, and those will be my top 3. Now, I did it in order of 1, 2, 3. Usually we do 3, 2, 1, make it a little more dramatic. You do it whatever order you like, but how is your rolling of the dice going, my friend?
So when we look at some of these names in here, I just want to mention also Christina Lazo placed 5th last year in this weight class. I'm not picking her to make the podium, but I just wanted to mention that. So she could be a factor. I mean, if we look at the nominated totals, they're so tight. So
very tight, man.
Really tight. And I tell you, Kimberly Johnson.
Oh yeah. Yes, I'm glad you brought her up because she's also, you could talk me into, thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you, because I can easily be talked into Kimberly Johnson as well.
She's an experienced equip lifter, and she has the American record in the equip bench category. And she's only done 1 or 2 raw meets, so there's not a lot out there on her. But I suspect that she's one of these girls that's strong both ways. And I'm not picking her, but I would not be the least bit surprised if Kimberly sneaks onto the podium somehow.
100%. For sure.
Yeah, 100%. But so here's what I'm going to do in terms of my picks. I'm not picking Chambers. She came in 9th last year. I know she's done some equip lifting too. She's very experienced. She might be the most experienced out of the group, actually, Miranda.
Really?
She's been doing this for a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and take Brittany Saplicki at 3rd. I like the fact that, she came in 8th last year, but missed some lifts. So I've got her coming in 3rd. I've got the American record holder in the deadlift, Melissa Barber, coming in 2nd. So Melissa is the American record holder. She's got a big deadlift. She will definitely pull last. There's no question about that.
It's a big, yeah.
It's a big, that's a big ace card to have up her sleeve. It's just, she's never been better than 7 for 9, so she's inconsistent. She came third last year. If she put together a 9 for 9 day, I think that, she could conceivably win this thing. But that's where I think the coaching is really going to come into play. I love Eric Bodhorn, and I'm with you. I'm picking Christina. I talked to her. I reached out to her. I'm picking Christina to win as well.
Wow.
and yeah, so shake it up a little bit.
You know what? So you know what? Yeah, Barber definitely could make the cut. See what I did there? And take first as well. Make the cut and see the podium. Yeah, okay. It took a minute, but all right. It's not my A game. Hey,
I got you.
I'm not overly proud of that one, but she can make the cut and easily make the podium as well. Barber, look at these ladies in terms of 57 kilo. If you look at the nominations, there's a cluster of these ladies, very tight. When we're talking within 10 to 15 kilo and the type of games you can have, 10 to 15 kilo can be easily mitigated with one loss. Someone misses one lift and you hit one, and now they're playing catch up, so they have to take risks. Well, guess what happens when you take risks? You're more likely to miss again. Now you miss 2, you land another 2. Things shake up. 10 to 15 kilos mitigated very quickly. So I'm not overlooking anybody, but it's one of those weight classes that's very wide open. If in an open weight class, both of us were on pace and took Christina, I don't know. We'll see. No pressure, Christina, but it's there's something going on there. Obviously, she's peaking well.
She's peaking well. She's in good hands, and because none of these girls have won before, because it's wide open, and because we're going to have a new national champion, that's where I just think that having a mentor in your hip pocket and having a mindful coach that knows how to play the game and the strategy is going to really, really play to their advantage. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm picking Chrissy. Like you said, she's peaking well, she's in top form, and she's got a distinct advantage there when it comes to the coaching. So,
yeah, I don't know all the ladies' coaches, but
yeah,
I mean, just based off of the numbers, it's going to be a tight battle. I can be swayed either which way, but there you go. There's the 57 kilo. Next, let's move into the 63s. Oh my goodness. Now, we are talking Clash of the Titans. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who woke the Titans up, but somebody did, and they're angry. Okay? You want to know why they're angry? They're coming home from Sweden, both of them saying, why do I have a silver around my neck right now? The plan was for gold. They're both world class. They're both capable of a world championship. They're both capable of being world champion. Phenomenal lifters. Young enough, I bet you, and let's also talk about Jen Milliken. She wasn't in Sweden, but she has. Jen Milliken, oh, by the way, not only it was a world champion, but won best lifter in 2017 of all the champion of champions at the world championships, let alone these other two. And I'm talking about Meg, I'm talking about Sam Calhoun, Meg Scanlon, both of them capable of winning a world title. I would be shocked if both of those young ladies retire without at some point winning a world title if they keep at it. If they keep doing what they're doing. Now, we have the perfect storm where 3 hurricanes are converging right now. Matt?
Yep.
3 hurricanes. We got Hurricane Jen, Hurricane Meg, and Hurricane Sam. Only one of them's the winds are gonna die out on the other two, and only one's gonna keep going onto the mainland and claim America.
I can't wait.
Dude, I put it this way. When I was watching Meg Scanlon in the 57 kilo class, when she took the world record squat, then she took the world record bench, and then with her last deadlift, she took the world record total. I said that is the greatest 57 kilo lifter we have ever seen. And I was right, because it was the biggest total we'd ever seen, 57 kilo. Then the miracle happened for Canada.
Hey, that was the moment of the championships.
Maria, yeah, bless her heart. And she became now she's Canada's Golden Girl. And I don't know, May, you're old enough to remember the show Golden Girls. I hate saying Golden Girl because it makes it sound, that's what I remember. People younger are like, what is the Golden Girls? I don't get it. Yeah. So it works. But she's Canada's Golden Girl. And And then Maria, by half a kilo, became the greatest 57 kilo lifter of all time and putting up the biggest performance we'd ever seen at 57 kilo. But those two ladies were the two best we'd ever seen in 57 kilo. So when Meg comes home, she's disappointed she didn't win, but she also knows what me and Maria did, we'd never seen before. I think she comes back a little less roughed up mentally and a little more encouraged for the future. And when she decided, you know what, because I seen her backstage. We took a picture together and posted it together. And she was like, my God, I look emaciated. I look so small there. Like she was red. Like making 57 kilos was very difficult for her. Now she's jacked. Now she's like, you know what, I can eat appropriately to my training. And the weights she's shifting her top end world record 57 kilo squat for reps. She's taking that deadlift she missed that would have won her the title for reps. She's a monster now, 63 kilo, and she's hungry for this. And now you have Sam, who also when the race is going to be tight, and it's going to be tight, my friend. And in the Arnold Classic, they were both 63 kilo. Sam out-totaled her. And when they meet again in the U.S. Raw Nationals, Sam will lift last. I don't know if there's ever going to be a competition where Sam doesn't lift last. She will say, and Sam will say, load the bar. We're not, I don't care, but Sam, we could defend silver. You're going to lose your job as a handler. You know what I mean? Like, don't even say that. Don't even talk about it. She's like, when the last deadlift discussion comes, she'll be like, what are we talking about? Why are you talking to me right now? Throw on what I need to win.
Yeah, well, I'm coaching her at Nationals again, and trust me, those words aren't coming out of my mouth.
No, dude, you're going to get a look on her face like, what? Is this a discussion right now? Sam, do we load up the win or do we defend silver or bronze or whatever the situation is by the time we get to deads? And then we have Jen Milliken, who would be like, hey, by the way, guys, I get it. Hey, I get it. You know, Meg went to Sweden, and she bested my previous best at 57 kilo, and everyone's really high on Meg. Don't forget, I'm still Jen Milliken. I'm still a back-to-back world champion. I also, by the way, won in Calgary. I've won best lifter at the world championship. I'm Jen Milliken. So you don't have this discussion without entering my name and putting respect on my name, if you will. So, having said that, when I'm looking at these ladies and I'm thinking about all the different scenarios, I already know your hands are tied and you're going, I know who you're going for, and I respect that because you know what? She's going to pull last and she's going to pull the winning, she's going to have the winning deadlift in her hands.
Of course.
And I know Meg is going to be like, I've seen this story. I don't want it to happen again. You know, you said before, look at Maria, you said Maria will have the winning lift in her hands. And Meg is telling herself, I don't want to relive Sweden. Thank you very much. It was a remarkable day. We both said history is great. I don't want to live that again. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking in third place. We're going to have, and this is probably the deepest talented podium finishes we're going to see at the World Championships, at least in the women's division. If I'm dissecting this, you were never going to see a more class podium finish than these three ladies, I think.
Agreed.
So I'm going to throw that out there. I think Jen Milliken will be in the bronze medal position. And look, she's two-time world champion. I don't gotta say much more than that. Champion to champions. I think coming in second, and I've already said, yeah, she's going to be a world champion before she retires. I know this. But I think today, I'm going to pick her for second in this matchup. I think Megan's going to take the U.S. Raw Natural 63 kilo class. And I say this because I think from what I've seen at her 57 kilo in Sweden, from what I've seen in the Arnold, she was like, I could see Sam out pulling for the win, obviously. Okay? Yeah. Newsflash. Sam's going to have the weight deadlift in her hands and she can take it. I just think Meg fully committed to 63 kilo. Arnold, she wasn't fully committed. She knew she had to cut the 57. She didn't fill out 63 kilo. And I think she's 61 kilos. She said when she was on the podcast, that podcast is going to drop. And now she's probably over 63 kilo and going to water cut her way down. She's full-fledged 63 kilo. I think, and there's something about Meg that coming into this one, her takeaway from Sweden, she's riding super high. But from what I've seen in her training, I haven't seen a lot of Sam nearly as much. I was actually asking Sam, please post more because I want to repost you. I'm a huge Sam Calhoun fan. I'm not lying when I say I think she's going to be a world champion. I would be shocked if she doesn't win a world title. I'm a huge Sam Calhoun fan because I like the way she carries herself too. She's got spunk. You know, she's got the fighter's mentality. She's going out on her shield from here on out. But I'm going with, because I've seen a lot more of Meg, and from what I've seen, and I'm trying to do some mental math here, I think she's gonna have a good enough subtotal, and her dead, which is gonna be far lower than Sam's, will be enough that she has to load Sam up more than she could pull on that given day. However, having said that, this is 55-40. No, it's not 55-45. For me, this is 51-49. When you want to talk Sam and Meg, Sam and Megan are it's like Kristen Dunsmore and Sam all over again, where they're like right neck and neck. Like, you remember when Kristen and Sam were sporting rivals and they had the same total for like 3 competitions in a row? It was silly. Same total, 3 when they went head to head, same total, and Sam won on body weight. Even when they weren't at the same place, same venue, if they were lifting within a few months of each other, they somehow ended up with the same total. I don't know how. It was destiny. And Kristen Dunsmore was like, enough of this, okay? I'm moving because we need to break this. But I think, honestly, these two, Megan and Sam, I think we're gonna see something as special as Sweden was between Megan and Maria. And Megan's thinking, I don't want to relive it being the winning deadlift turns into a win for the other side. I can see it happening. I can see Sam pulling for the win. I can see Sam pulling all the way into the World Championships in Belarus and becoming a world champion. And I'd be shocked if she doesn't become a world champion. But I also think Megan is going to become a world champion. And I think both of these girls are class. If I got to flip a coin, I'm just going to go with what I've seen the most of. And coming away from Sweden, I was rattled with how good Megan was. And was the best 57 kilo lifter we'd ever seen until Maria came over and it popped on half a kilo on top of that. So there's my picks, my friend. Let's hear what you got to say.
So yeah, let me start by saying that this lineup, as you said, is just like the deepest talent pool in terms of top 3. I mean, that you can possibly imagine. Any 3 of these. I mean, this is like, a world championships essentially at our Raw Nationals. It's incredible. Any 3 of these girls could walk away with the gold and any of the you can literally just cut and paste and keep switching the order around and I think we could all be convinced to pick each one of them for the national title. It's interesting because you've got Milliken is by far the most well-rounded. You know, she's a supreme squatter. She's really good in the bench and she's got a really good deadlift with her as well.
She's got the best resume of the 3 as well. I'm not
Milliken is by far the most well-rounded. I was quoted as saying once that she's the female version of Taylor Atwood, and I meant that. Milliken she's really, really precise. She doesn't miss a lot of attempts. I fully anticipate her, making 8 or 9 of these things. I don't anticipate her missing. Megan obviously is formidable. Gigantic squat, gigantic bench. Both of these girls, both Megan and Jennifer, so the current American record is 187.5 kilo. And both of them, I anticipate, will go over the American record. And as a matter of fact, while we're talking, let me go ahead and do my due diligence here and check lot numbers between those two. So Milliken's got the lot number advantage when it comes to that. So that'll be really interesting. I mean, I give Megan a slight advantage in the squat. She's a little bit better squatter than Milliken, but I do anticipate both of them breaking the American record, so the chips will become valuable there. Nobody's touching Jennifer Thompson's bench. I mean, let's face it, that thing's in a whole nother galaxy. So that's safe. That record is safe. But and then of course it'll come down to the deadlift. I mean, it's incumbent upon Megan, like you said, of building the largest subtotal that she possibly can. That's what she has to do. She's got to be 6 for 6, and then importantly, she has to make 3 deadlifts. She has to make 3 because she's going to be pulling first. She will be finished deadlifting, by the time the other 2 girls are going. And so, she has to put together a package where has an incredible subtotal and, like you said, puts it out of reach for both Milliken and Calhoun, who are going to be pulling after her. She has to make them feel really, really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you've got somebody like Milliken who's I don't suspect is going to be too far behind its subtotal. No. So I fully anticipate Scanlon to be in the lead at subtotal, Milliken to be 2, Calhoun, of course, will be 3. But I'm telling you right now, and I'm coaching Sam. Sam and I have a great relationship. I've been her game day coach now, starting in 2017 and ever since. And I have seen her videos. And Sam has increased,
See, we haven't seen it yet. That's the thing.
And I've seen the videos. And so, I'm not going to tip my hand, but I'm telling you, Sam is ready. She's fired up. She's got a bitter taste in her mouth, as you said, having taken silver in Sweden. And we are going to be pulling last. And clearly, we're not playing for second. We're going to put on the bar, obviously, whatever we need. I mean, look, if it's in a situation where we needed, something like a 250 kilo deadlift, we're not stupid. But it's not going to be that far out of reach. And so clearly we're going to put it on the bar. So my picks are, I've got Scanlon coming in 3rd. I've got Milliken coming in 2nd because I believe that Jennifer will be a little bit lighter than Megan. And I think that, and she'll be pulling after. So I like Milliken coming in 2nd, and I can't pick against my girl, Sam. Sam is focused. She's ready. She's out for blood. She's loaded for bear. And I've got us putting on the bar what we need to take the victory. So,
you know what? I actually hadn't thought of how you're 100% right. Milliken will pull after Megan.
Yep.
And Milliken will have that advantage. I haven't seen Milliken enough at 63 kilo to, that's why. It's a bit of a question. All 3 of these women are like the world-class levels. They're all capable of a world championship. You are 100% right, though. If Megan really needs to go 3 for 3 in deads, in Sweden, she went 2 for 3, and missing that last dead cost her the world title. And if she misses now, because the other ladies, they're pulling well after her, it's really going to hurt her chances. She needs to go 3 for 3
Megan's in a position where, like I said, barring some mishap, she's going to be in the lead at subtotal. And so she has to make 3 deadlifts. Even if her final one is 2.5 less than what she wants, or maybe even 5, she has to make it, because if she misses it, she gives up too much of a deficit and she's left with her second one. Yeah. So there's a little bit of pressure there that she's got to go out and make that 3rd pull to kind of pad her lead, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
I do not miss the 63 kilo class. Look, if you're only going to see a couple of these, you got to see the 63 kilo. This is the battle of the Titans. I love it. And I love that Jen's coming back, and we got the 63 kilo class is super stacked. Now, we got 25 minutes till 7 o'clock. I know you're on a bit of a time, so we'll run through this, pick up the pace a little bit.
Yes, sir.
What's next?
So we've got, let me see, I think we've got 93s that evening as well.
Okay.
Yes, the 93 men are coupled with the 57s and 63s. So 93s are next.
I'm going to throw this out there. Jonathan Keiko with his 867.5, I think he hit.
863.
He's a pretty solid number 1 pick. LS, 2-time world champion. His best was 840. He's in his 40s, still strong as hell. Like his training videos, he looks super strong, no doubt. But I don't see him putting on, like Jonathan's a young man who, I think he's early to mid 20s. His 863, he could be 8 70 something, like if he's added on to that since, that's not an old total. It's only a couple months old. But if he's even added a little bit on, LS doing 850 would be huge for him, 860. But more than that, I think it's just a little too much of an ask for LS. So I'm thinking Jonathan Keiko, but LS being LS, I'm going to take my man coming in second. And then for third, this is a bit of a sentimental pick. You probably already know, but I'm going to pick 60-year-old David Ricks, just because I'm a softie. And he's Superman. He's Superman.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll take David Ricks. And you know what? Having said that, look at all right, there's some young guns who could post up some big totals. But if David Ricks, it's not a crazy thing to say third. It's not crazy. If he can have a good day, he's 60 years old. He's 172 years old. But he could still, if he took a bronze, I would absolutely love it. I think that'd be a phenomenal. At 60, that's phenomenal. That's probably the oldest, that's got to be the oldest podium finisher in prime time. First 60-year-old ever to podium. Yeah. So I would love it. And I think I think he's going to make history and become the first 6-year-old to podium on prime time. There you have it.
Yeah, Ricks is a fan favorite. You've got to love him. I've worked with David many times. If you add up David's best lifts together, they total 848. So I mean, if he could put together that supreme 9-for-9 meet, I think he could be relevant. He's struggled, as we all know, with hitting depth in the squat at a lot of meets recently, and kind of blown our mind. I mean, he's the gamer of all gamers, right? When you push all your chips to the center of the table and he's down 0-2, he's down to his last strike, you're betting on David because you're betting on him to come back because he does. He delivers. Now, he did bomb, I believe it was in
Calgary.
He bombed in Calgary. Yeah. So I mean, and that was unfortunate. But I love David. I'll be cheering for him. I don't think he's going to have enough to make it into the podium, but he is going to show these young bucks that, look, man, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to push you guys. I've got LS coming in third. I love LS. Like you said, his 840 total was back in 2017. He's inconsistent a little bit with his squat. He kind of bottoms out a little bit. And I know that he's been trying to find his groove there. He's also, at his last couple meets, undergone some pretty significant weight cuts, and that's hampered him some, And so I've got LS coming in third. I've got Charlie Dixon coming in second. Charlie has put together some really impressive training. Yeah. He's hit a comfortable 700 squat and deadlift in training. His bench has skyrocketed. Just because I think he's begun to kind of fill out this weight class and kind of feel himself out, so to speak. He just recently hit a 457. That's 207.5 kilo bench in training, which is just amazing. And so I think, look, Charlie can win this thing if Jonathan has a bad day. I'm telling you. So. Yeah. Dixon. I'm telling you right now, I'm picking Dixon at number 2, and Keiko. Now remember, Keiko, he did this at a local meet in California, that American record and unofficial world record total. And I'm not saying that he can't come to nationals and show and prove and reproduce that. I'm not saying that at all. But I think there's, he's going to have a bullseye on his chest, on his back a little bit. No questions, because he's coming in as the strongest man in the room, so to speak. And so they're going to be gunning for him. And it's and I am picking Jonathan to win, but I'm just telling you, if he slips, if he misses, Dixon will take it. But to wrap up, I've got McLean, LS coming in third. I've got Charlie coming in second, and I've got Jonathan winning his first national title. And like you said, he will go to Belarus if he wins. So
Charlie had that injury. He's strong. He's so strong.
Yeah.
But since his injury and his depth on his squats, it's angle. It could be angle, but they don't look super good from his videos. Now it's an Instagram angle video, so I got no idea. It's not depth angle. Who knows? But I would like to see depth angle. I'm not his coach. I'm sure he's showing his coach depth angle, the proper angles. He's showing Instagram. I mean, the guy takes his shirt off and gains 10,000 followers. The guy, so I'm sure I got to think his coach is like, let me see some depth angle. Okay, we're good. You're 100% right. look, I'm all over David Ricks because he's Superman, but Charlie, I haven't seen enough of him at 93 because he's starting to come to his own. He's just entering past that junior age. In Calgary, it was his last junior age. He took the 83 kilo world title. Didn't see him in Sweden, but he's coming off the injury. I'm interested in seeing what kind of day he pieces together.
Yeah, I think, and Charlie's well coached. He's coached by a good friend of mine, a local guy, Brad Couliard, and Brad's got significant amount of international experience. And I guarantee you that Charlie's putting his squats in the pocket there because Brad would be calling him out if he wasn't. Trust me, I guarantee that.
And that's it. That's it. A coach will be. Yeah. If I'm thinking that, the coach saw the Instagram and is actually getting the depth view.
Yeah, Brad's on top of it. And Brad's going to put together a good game plan there. And like I said, Jonathan just needs to make his lifts. That's all. Because if he doesn't, Charlie's going to catch him. So
I'm sure Brad's like, okay, I like the Instagram. Put your shirt back on and show me the depth angle, and let's see what happens.
Right. Separate videos going over to Brad.
That's right. 7 videos are a whole lot less sexy, but they're getting the job done. So you know what? Like, if I'm fair, Charlie probably is going to podium, but I'm just saying I gotta throw my man Superman in there. What the hell, sentimental favorite. Although I do love Charlie as well. I had Charlie on the podcast. A guy you couldn't have a nicer guy, hardworking, and the door is always open to have him back. So what's next, my friend?
So when we go to Saturday, we've got the men's 105, which is just going to be off the charts, and we've got the women 72s and 84s.
Okay. So the 105s.
Yep.
Here's what I'm thinking. We all know Bryce Lewis has returned. The King has returned. Okay. Throughout the kingdom, everybody's talking about it. Stepped away for a minute. Wanted to collect his thoughts, work on a few things, tinker around a little bit. He's looking absolute dynamite in training. He's won national titles. He's won world titles. He's pulled off huge upsets. He's been in the mix when it comes to the big showdowns. He is not unaccustomed to dealing with the pressure. He's not unaccustomed to going all the way to the world title and winning. He's not unaccustomed to this. It's still humble, nice, as nice a guy as you're going to meet. And then we have Ashton Ruska, who has all the potential of becoming the Russell Orhe of a division, if you will. If he decided, like he seems to be, the type of weight he's shifting in the gym, I don't even know what to say about it. It's like he could win a world title any weekend.
It's mind-blowing.
He literally does a squat dead bench day once a week, and all of them, it seems like he's winning national titles every weekend. Like, I don't know what he's prepped for, but my man is always peaked.
So Ashton moved from Texas up to my neck of the woods. Actually, he's working in Bethesda, because he's in the military. So he's up here near NIH. And so he didn't come to train at our facility, but he's been training at a local facility. And I know that jokingly, in jest, like you said, he pretty much does an SBD day once per week on Saturdays, and he kind of dubs it the Ashton Ruska Invitational. And so he says, "Look, man, I need spotters, and I need help, and I need people to kind of watch." So yeah, it's kind of funny. He puts together, like you said, he almost does in his training. It's not every single week, but a lot of weeks he'll do an SBD day and kind of test his mettle, so to speak. So it's been kind of fun watching that happen.
What do you think in terms of here? I'm going to let you go first for the 105.
Yes, I'll happily pick first. I'm gonna mention. I'm actually gonna go ahead and give a little shine to just about everybody here, all the guys in prime time. So looking at Colin Whitney. Colin Whitney's a buddy of mine. He's from Pennsylvania. He placed 9th last year. Colin's a really consistent lifter. I think he went 8 for 9 at nationals last year. Fully anticipate him to improve on that total that we see there. Not going to be enough, obviously, to break into the top 3 because this is like a murderer's row. Like you said, this is going to be like a world championships as well with these heavyweights throwing punches up top. We've got Chad Schroeder. He placed 6th last year, 9 for 9, good lifter. Again, don't see him breaking into the top 3. Might be able to get into top 5. And then we've got Darrington Wright, who's a beefed up 93. He's only done 1 meet at 105. I know he used to be coached by TSA. Good quality lifter. Could make some noise and potentially break into top 5. Of course, we've got David Wilson, who was the 93 champ last year, unseated, or I should say, well, yeah, he actually did unseat Ashton Rushka, because Ashton won in 2017 in Orlando on his last pull. He beat LS, and then of course David last year in Spokane put together a super meet, went 9 for 9. Ashton had some trouble with squat depth, and David beat him. Now David just recently, I think everybody knows, had an adductor injury.
Yes, and it was bad. It looked bad.
Yeah, now he's I think further. I mean, I tell you, he's put together some videos, and David is in a really good place mentally, man. I tell you what, he's got the right attitude. I really like his mindset right now. He's not 100% back, but I think he's a lot further along than he thought he would be. I do think, obviously, that adductor injury is going to hamper him. He could make some noise with that big deadlift, but I don't see him being able to do as much damage. Now, look, if he was coming in 100%, then maybe different story. Different scenario. With that big deadlift, I could see him kind of pulling into the conversation there for those top few spots. We've got Gregory Johnson, primarily an equip lifter, super strong, could have the biggest deadlift, a little inconsistent, so I don't see him breaking into podium. We've got Mikey Davis, who came in 3rd last year. He just recently hit a 675 squat in training.
And he's a young dude, too. His gains are going to be quick because he is young, man. His gains are going to be quick.
He's young. Yep. You got Ben Rice, also notable. He placed 4th last year. I think he was kind of hurt last year because he missed 2 squats. He gives up so much ground in the bench press. He kind of bookends his total there with huge squat, huge deadlift, but he's one of the lower benchers there in the group. And I'm telling you right now, so I'm going to go ahead and give you my picks, and I'll give them in reverse order. I've got Joseph Amendola coming in 3rd. Okay. Now, let me tell you about Joseph. He used to train at our facility and just recently moved to Jacksonville. He came in 5th last year. He is the world record holder in the bench press. He went to Japan and competed as a 105. Okay, and the American record is 253. I'm telling you right now, his opener will be more than anybody else finishes with. He just recently doubled 260 in training. Doubled it. Okay. For a pause. So we're looking at 260 potentially being a second attempt for him, which is above the American record. Like I said, he's got the American record at 253. So he's gonna make some noise. And he was injured at the Arnold and kind of dinged up a little bit at Raw Nationals last year. So I fully anticipate him to all of his numbers are going to come up. His squat and his deadlift. I mean, he's nominated there with an 845.5. I fully anticipate that number to be significantly higher. So I've got Joseph coming in 3rd. Of course, I'm coaching, it's really no disrespect to anybody else, but this is a fight that's between Ashton and Bryce. And so I think we all know that. And Ashton, with the videos that he's put out, with the totals that he has out there, having hit a 2,000-pound, total and so forth, everybody knows that when he walks into the room that he's the strongest guy in the room. I think, everybody understands that. He's also going to be the lightest. I mean, by far. So he's, like you said, he's a water cut away from getting back down to 93.
Yeah.
Right. And he's consistently squatting and training in the low 7s, deadlifting in the high 7s, and benching in the mid 4s. The question is going to be, is he well-rounded enough and I should say consistent enough to put together a package where Bryce, who doesn't miss, who is extremely well-rounded, who's going to make up some ground there in the bench press. Ashton will out-squat Bryce, but Bryce will out-bench Ashton by probably a similar amount.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's going to come down to the deadlift. And I'm coaching Bryce, and I've seen his videos, and he hasn't put everything out there. Obviously, he's
he's one of those guys.
But I'm telling you now, Bryce is ready. He's in a great place mentally. He's in top form. Both of these guys, Ashton and Bryce, are going over 2,000 pounds, unquestionably. Both of these guys are going to total over 907.5 kilos, because 907.5, I think, is the marker for the 2,000-pound total. Yeah. Both of these guys are going into the 2,000s.
That's insane.
It's insane. I've got, and I'm not going to pick against Bryce because I'm coaching him. And so I've got Ashton coming in second, and I've got Bryce coming back and reclaiming his title at number 1. So Joseph Amendola number 3, Ashton number 2, and Bryce taking the title.
So, 100%. Bryce is he is Mr. Consistency for a reason. Not only is he consistent with all 3 lifts, in terms of you have some people who are specialists in certain lifts, and he's consistent across all 3. He'll medal at the Worlds across all 3. He's never getting drastically outlifted by anybody in all 3. So consistent, as well as attempt selection. He's got individuals like yourself helping him out, but he very rarely misses. He pieces together a day. That's how we won titles all the way up to a world title, piecing together the best possible day. So he literally is Mr. Consistency, and it helps him out in a lot of battles. In this situation, for number 3, I'm going to take Mikey D. I think the young man is, he's young, he's strong, and he's only getting stronger. I'm going to go with Mikey D. For number 2, I'm going to go with Bryce Lewis.
Okay.
And it will not be from handling. It'll not be from handling.
Touche.
He will go 9 for 9.
Right on.
But I think Ashton is, if he puts together the day he's capable of, he could be like an Atwood or he type individual.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in the proper weight class, and that's not crazy to say. The guy is literally a water cut away from 93 still. He's way small for 105. But I think he's a special talent. Obviously, Bryce is a special talent as well. The guy's a world champion. He doesn't need to hear this from me. He's a world champion. But I think Ashton, if he puts together a day that he's capable of, however, he's a little wild, man. It's crazy doing Ashton invitationals every week. I don't know how I feel about that. How does that lead to peaking? And I haven't seen this before in terms of, and then at the national level and in other competitions, US Open, whatever, we've seen him winning, and then we've seen him bombing out at US Open, and then we seen him get upset by David Wilson. David and Goliath match happened, and David won. And so it's tough. Ashton is that guy that it's like, my man, give me some. He's not Mr. Consistency, put it that way. Bryce Lewis is Mr. Consistency. Ashton is the opposite. Ashton, you don't know what you got. I'm just going to roll the dice and say, that day I think we're going to get 100 from Ashton. If he's anything less, Mr. Consistency is carving out a hell of a career beating guys just like that, isn't he? Mm-hmm. You don't want to come in wild against Bryce Lewis because you can't miss. Because guess what? Bryce isn't. There's a reason.
And I fully anticipate. I mean, look, Ashton is, like you said, man, he's just off the charts right now. I mean, the numbers he's putting up in training are just incredible. So, I mean, we want him to bring his best. I mean, look, man, a high tide raises all boats, right?
Yeah.
So, bring it. I mean, I hope all these lifters bring their A game because it just makes it more fun. And it's just going to make it, better in the back come time to deadlift. So
100%. Okay, so we're getting tight on time. Run it down. We got 7 minutes. We'll rip through.
I'll give you an extra 5.
I always get 5 out of you. We've been here enough times. Whenever we start rocking and rolling, Matt always goes, 5, 6, 7 more minutes. 7 more minutes. Okay, so what's the next weight class? Huh?
So we've got the 72s, where we're guaranteed a new national champion as well. So let's talk about the 72s.
Okay.
So,
well, I'll let you do a little bit of scouting on it. We'll do relatively quickly because I know you're pressed for time. But I think we're for myself, Chloe Dublin, who freaking yesterday was a teenager. This is crazy. She's 20 years old. Not literally yesterday she's a teenager, but you get what I'm saying. And the number she's posting up, 519. It's insane the talent that Chloe Dublin has. Again, podcast dropping for her as well. I got so many podcasts in the hopper, Gary. This week's going to be crazy dropping them all. But Chloe Dublin is so talented an individual. I think she's going to put together. She's 20 years old at 519. You're looking at what like winning in the Open is, like Kimberly Walford, it's not that crazy far off. At 20, what's she doing by 25, 26, 30 years old? Some of these people are peaking in their early 30s. Sky is the limit for Chloe Dublin. I think we're going to see her win her first Open national title at these U.S. Raw Nationals. What say you, sir?
Agreed. Yeah, I think Chloe, she's coming in with the highest nominated total. She's got international experience. I've got Chloe coming in first. Kind of looking at some of these other girls. Ellen Liverpool is nice to see her in prime time. She used to train at our facility at SSPT. She's been kind of dinged up lately. She moved into the Midwest. She's been doing the bulk of her training out there. I believe it's in St. Louis. She's battling through some injuries, coming back. I'm looking for Ellen to have a good meet. I don't know if she can crack into the podium. If she was 100%, she gives up a lot of ground in the bench. You know, she's a good squatter, good deadlifter, but gives up a lot of ground in the bench. If she was 100%, then I might be inclined for her to sneak into third. But I've got Jasmine Penn, who competed at 63 last year and moved up a weight class. Her training has been absolutely on fire. That 175 squat for her, she's already done over 400 in training. And so,
oh wow,
yeah. So she's already done over 400 in training, and it looks smooth. I mean, it looked like she had more in the tank. So I've got Jasmine coming in second there, and then I'm picking Jordan Davis to take third. Her qualifying total was from the Arnold, and that was with 2 missed lifts. So she does have room for more, and she's got a big deadlift. So you could really convince me to flip flop Jordan and Jasmine, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with Jasmine at number 2 and Jordan Davis at 3.
All right, so I actually had Jordan second and Jasmine third, but
okay,
I didn't know like as much. I didn't know Jasmine was hitting what she was hitting in training. Here's the thing: like you can only scout so much, and you might have just convinced me to flip flop because I didn't know she's posting up squats like that. Like some of these girls, it's tough to call, right? But you know, just to be devil's advocate, I'll keep Jordan and Jasmine, and what the heck, split the difference. If so to speak, right? But either way, I think we're all on the same page in terms of the podium. Chloe is probably pretty secure, barring something crazy, and I think she's got a world of potential in terms of the future. And I know she wants to get back with Jessica Bittner, who is a bit of a sporting rival. The Canada-U.S. relations are breaking down there in the 72 kilo class, and I think they're both close in age, both won junior titles. And I think Chloe is like a sub-junior, but and she's only 20 years old, so she's got more years left as a junior, which is crazy to think about. But I think those two are going to have some phenomenal battles moving forward in the 72 kilo class, as long as Jessica can keep making 72 kilo. But anyways, let's not make it about Jessica. What's the next weight class, sir?
Next weight class will be the 84s. 84 women.
84s, so here it is. I'm not entirely sure our friend Daniela Mello was showing up to this party.
There's been some rumors circulating.
I'm not entirely sure she's checked out. I'm not entirely sure she's checked in. I haven't put her on the spot to ask, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to. So, I don't know what to say. In terms of my pick, should we just make our picks like as if she's showing up? What do you think?
Yeah. You know what? I'll give you my picks if you I'll give you both versions because I've done my research on some of the other girls too. Why don't I go first?
Sure.
Of that?
Sure.
Is that cool? So Alicia Webb has done some equip lifting. She was on the national team, competed at the 2016 Raw Worlds. She's a masters lifter. She's strong. Got a decent sized bench there. Misses a lot of her third benches, so it's that's a critical lift there where you got to kind of hold serve to bridge your total. Don't think Alicia is going to have enough to compete with these younger girls in terms of cracking into the podium. I want to give a shout out to Ayla Thurston. I don't know if you remember Ayla. I think you may have done the live stream for her in Sweden. She competed in Sweden. She won the juniors.
Oh, okay.
And she went 9 for 9. Let me tell you something. I don't think I've seen in a long time as polished and a professional lifter as Ayla. She came out on the platform and absolutely owned it. I mean, you'd have thought she'd have been competing for 20 years. Absolutely polished. Every single attempt was textbook form and precise. And she's been making some significant strength gains I've got her and Catherine Ducati there. I mean, you can flip a coin in terms of third place. I could be convinced that Ayla could come in third. I'm picking Catherine as my third place finisher. She just recently hit 200 kilos. That's her best squat. She just recently hit that for a triple in training. She just took her PR for a triple, and is only about a kilo over body weight when she did that. So I was like, that just blew my mind. So I've got Catherine coming in third, and that's assuming that Amanda and Daniela both show up, right? Because, I mean, we all know that it's going to come down between those two. To your point, Daniela really has gone kind of radio silent, so to speak, and hasn't put anything out there. And because of that, and you know, like you said, there's been some talk kind of swirling that maybe she's not coming. None of us knows. I'm assuming that she's going to come. I'm going to pick Daniela second. I think Amanda's rate of adaptation right now is just higher than Daniela's. I just think that she's getting stronger faster. I think that the two of them are neck and neck. I think Daniela's probably a little bit more consistent. I think Daniela, if you match up their attempts, you know, and go attempt for attempt, I think Daniela's inclined to make more attempts than Amanda is, or than Amanda does. And I know that it came down to body weight at the end at Worlds and all that, or that sort of thing. And Amanda, you know, was able to pull out the win there. So I would go Daniela 2 and just Amanda number 1. Amanda's looking strong. She's looking crazy strong, just like she always does. I know that she's got to cut some weight too. So I don't know that she's going to be able to reproduce some of the stuff that we've seen in training. I still don't think she's there yet for a 600 squat. I have no question in my mind that she will squat 600 pounds. It's not, 272 and a half. I don't believe it's going to happen at this meet. She's not there quite yet. And I think she'll pull 600 eventually. I don't think that's quite there just yet. But that's how my picks would go. I would take Catherine at 3, Mello at 2, Lawrence at 1. If Mello doesn't show up, then I've got Ayla Thurston at 3, Catherine Ducati at 2, and then, of course, Amanda in first.
I'm going to echo, I have the exact same picks as you.
Yep.
And I also think, essentially, if Daniela was going to get another win over Lawrence, it would have been in Sweden was a time, because I think Lawrence is progressing. They're both progressing, but I think Lawrence is progressing at a rate that very few are in powerlifting, period.
Yep.
Not just comparative to Mello, but like just period in general. Her rate of adaptation is phenomenal. I think that was the time to get the W. That was the last opportunity, so to speak, because moving ahead, it's just going to get tougher and tougher. I agree. She's going to squat 6. She's going to dead 6. You can see these numbers coming. So I think exact same picks with both scenarios. So to speak.
Yeah, and I think also just to look back at, so you have this weight class, and again, assuming that Mello comes, you've got Amanda and Daniela, the loser, it's funny just saying that, right? I mean, the person who places second, my God,
there you go.
They're both world champions. The person who comes in second will be, I would suspect, be the first alternate, because we go by Carpino's score, and her IPF score is going to be so high, whoever comes in second, that they would be the first alternate. And if they're not the first alternate, you'd be looking at whoever doesn't win the 63s. You know what I mean? So you've got our alternate pool for our women's national team is going to, our highest ranked alternates are going to be coming out of those two weight classes, the 63s and the 84s, unquestionably. So, again, you can have a situation, and we don't know how it's all going to shake out with going to Belarus and this, that, and the other thing. And, that's a long trip. It's expensive. It's, a foreign country, tough to get into with visas. Like we had those issues last year, last time with Atwood and all that sort of thing. So who knows who is going to say yes and who's going to say no. That could open the doors for some other women to get on the team. But make no mistake about it, the highest ranked alternates will be coming out of those two weight classes. Yeah. The 63s and the 84s.
Man, that is an amazing 1-2 punch. Can you imagine coming into battle with Amanda and Daniela once again? Like, that's a hell of a 1-2 punch for the U.S. Or Megan Scanlon and Sam Calhoun. That's an amazing 1-2 punch. Or Jen Milliken, any of them. Jen Milliken and Meg Scanlon. Or Jen Milliken and Sam. Is there another possibility? No, that's it. You got to make sure you hit them all. Like the 1-2 punches that can be coming through over there is phenomenal. Okay, so we're pressed for time. What's up next, my friend?
So then we've got the last day. We've got the 84 pluses. I think everybody in America knows how that's going to end. Yeah. And then, of course, you got the bigger guys. So I think we should start with the 84 pluses. Just look at it.
Yeah, we could bet. We know Bonica Brown has got this.
Right. Exactly. She's got it wrapped up. And then it's really going to come down to Sarah Brenner and Mahalia Reeves. The two of them, they've got the same nominated total. They're coming in with a 610 kilo nomination.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna pick Sarah at number 2 because she's got the world record in the deadlift, which she just recently did at NAPFs, and so she's gonna pull last. And so I'm just led to believe that if it comes down between her and Mahalia, they're gonna be battling it out for that second place spot. That Sarah's gonna pull last, and she's gonna put on the bar whenever she needs. So I've got Sarah at 2 and Mahalia at 3.
You know, I think your Instagram handle is Sarah Squats, and it should be Sarah Deads by now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's got the world record dead, and she's a hell of a deadlifter.
Hell of a deadlifter.
Yeah, one hell of a dead. And whenever's a battle that close, and they're coming in with the exact same nomination, I will always lean towards who's pulling last because you're just going to chip it. And you're just going to be like, let me just do exactly what, load the bar with the win, or silver medal, so to speak, in this situation. I think there you have it, pretty much would be the podium finish. The more likely scenarios anyways, with those given. Now, should we skip along too because we're already past the 5 minutes? We're going on to your 6 and 7 minute. Is there anybody you want to throw out there?
Yeah. For 84 plus, no. I mean that's pretty much the show. Yeah.
Okay.
For the I think that's going to be your podium right there.
Okay. So we'll do 120 and 120 plus real quick then. We'll bang these out quick, my friend. For 120, for both of these, I think that the leader in terms of both those divisions is fairly clear with we have men who are creating dynasties in their eras. Dennis Cornelius is an absolute phenom at 120, and Ray Williams is at 120 plus. I need not say much. You got to be living under a rock in a cave in Antarctica to not know both these guys are the kingpins at 120 plus in terms of their resumes in the classic division. Nobody's got the resumes that either of these gentlemen have. They are my picks. Who are we looking at in terms of 120 plus? I see a Trevor Thomas is a young kid coming in there. We got for the 120 plus. Who are some names you're thinking we should keep some eyes on? They're not likely to win it, but they're gonna have a bit of a coming out party for the rest who are watching.
So we're doing 120s or the heavyweights first. What do you want to do first?
Let's do 120s.
Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of shine on all these guys. So I'll stay an extra 5 minutes and give you.
All right, okay, we got you. You got to rub your arms, sir.
Yeah, so you've got 1, 2, 3. You got 7 guys in the 120s, and we've got 7, I think, in the 120 pluses. So looking at the 120s, just looking through, there's some lifters that you may not be familiar with. CJ, I lift. Looking at his stuff, this guy's never missed a squat. So, which is pretty cool. You know, he's super consistent. He came in 10th last year, and so now he's breaking into prime time. Obviously, not going to have enough to make the podium, but really cool that he's consistent. And congratulations on coming to the party in prime time. Ryan Stills is a 3-time Masters world champion.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've commented on him.
Yes.
Super strong guy, out of Oregon, the Pacific Northwest. Looks like a lumberjack. Comes out there. He's got a huge deadlift. He can pull, right around close to 800 pounds. I think his best deadlift is 360 kilos. That's 793. A little inconsistent. He's missed his third deadlifts at his last 3 meets. But Ryan could make a splash if he put together a performance. Tristan Naselrod is a local guy here from Maryland. He's trained at our facility a couple of times, and he's coached by one of our coaches. He's dinged up right now with an injured shoulder. Otherwise, and this is Tristan's first prime time as well, I would be looking for Tristan to kind of make a move to possibly sneak into like 4th or maybe even 3rd, but with that dinged up shoulder, I just don't think it's going to be possible. Of course, we've got the 55-year-old legend Tony Harris, man. You got he's on the level with Dave Ricks. At one time he held the open world record in the squat there for a minute before Dennis took it back. And so you've got Tony's kind of, I think, the fan favorite in this weight class, just like Dave is in the 93s. And he's just a legend in the game. You got to love him. He's hanging around and making it harder for these younger guys. But I've got Nathan coming in third. So Nathan Alexander, his PR total, which is his nominated total, only came on 5 attempts. He missed 4 lifts when he got that total. So I got, and he only makes 8% of his third deadlifts. I did some research on this guy. He only makes 8%.
What?
So
dude, that is a
yeah.
They say I don't trust words. I even question actions. But I never doubt patterns. My friend, a pattern is emergent. You got to rethink your third attempt.
So I'm looking for Nathan. Look, I think Nathan's going to put together a little bit better package. I think he's going to make more than 5 lifts. Let's hope that he improves on his consistency a little bit. I've got him coming third. I've got Jared Martin coming in second. The last meet that he did was Raw Nationals last year. He competed at 2015 Worlds. He was in the 120s with Mike Tushier in Finland at IPF Raw Worlds in Finland. So he's no stranger to international competition. I've got him coming in second. And, of course, obviously, I've got Dennis Cornelius coming in first. It's really exciting. My wife and I are going to be coaching Dennis along with Ray, and it's really exciting to see him coming back. He's coming back from a neck injury and coming back from a little bit of a hiatus from USAPL competition. I talked to Dennis yesterday on the phone. We were putting together his game plan, and I talked to Dennis for about 45 minutes. He is ecstatic, looking forward to coming back to the USAPL and looking to do some damage. Been keeping his weight down with his cross training with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is really nice. So he's not going to have as significant of a weight cut. He's been waking up in the morning at like 122.5, so we're talking a pretty easy, water loading scenario there. I don't want to give out his numbers, but I'm just telling you this, and he's made this very clear. He wants to be the lightest man to have squatted 400 kilos. Whew. And he wants to be the lightest man to have totaled 1,000. Both of those are on the table for this meet. It's possible. Now, he's going to have to be flawless, absolutely flawless, but those are on the table. Those are both distinct possibilities. I'm not saying that it's going to happen because lots of times, and I love Dennis, we need to encourage him because he'll come off the platform and kind of look at Susie and look at myself and be like, how'd that look? I don't know. It felt heavy. And we're like, Dennis, you crushed it, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he's one of those lifters that kind of needs that encouragement. I'm, again, not saying that those are going to happen, but he will break his American record total, which is the world record total, which is 978.5. I fully suspect him to break the squat. I do suspect him to break the bench. And the total. So I think that 3 American records are going to fall. The deadlift is well out of reach. He's not as strong as a deadlifter. But so it's quite possible that if he puts together a super meet, he could hit the 1,000. That's going to take a 400-kilo squat. I think we're going to try our best to put him in position to put that on the bar, but it's all going to come down to see how that second one looks. But I do suspect that he's going to break the American record squat, bench, and total. And so that's who I'm picking for the 120s. I've got Nathan Alexander at number 3, Jared Martin number 2, and Dennis Cornelius reclaiming his throne at number 1.
Couple things. So I got the same podium. I'm going to take Nathan Alexander in second. So I'll shift the second and third. I thought Cornelius hit 1,000 kilo total. Did he not?
He did, but he was at a heavier body weight. He weighed about what did he weigh? Maybe 132 kilos when he did it. Yeah, he wasn't a 120.
Gotcha. So he is the lightest man to hit it. He wants to be the first 120, is what you're saying.
I'm sorry. He wants to be the first 120, and he has. A lot of people have been asking. He's already squatted 900 pounds, and he's done that. But again, he wasn't 120. So that's why. Yeah, that's the key. Yep.
All right. Yep. And then another thing, little background story. I'll be real quick. Nathan Alexander coming back from a broken back. He literally had a broken back in training. The footage is on Instagram if you want to see it. It happened in a squat. He shows the squat that broke his back as well as the x-ray, like legitimately broken, coming back. What a remarkable story if he could podium at the prime time, and who knows what shakes up. So, yeah. And also Ryan Stills and Tony Harris in Sweden. I believe Harris was actually handling him to break his world record total. Didn't happen, but I think he was encouraging and handling him to do so. But again, as you had said, he's got a bit of a streak going without being able to hit that last deadlift. Yep. And that last deadlift would have gotten him the world record M1 total. And that last deadlift just wasn't meant to be on that given day. But he's still in the hunt. And I know he can't do a world record at the U.S. Raw Nationals, but he would love to do some damage at the U.S. Raw Nationals, head to Belarus if possible, and seal the deal and take Tony's world record total. Now, coming into the 120 pluses, just a little background, some of those guys, coming to 120 pluses, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to pick Ray. It's going to be interesting because Ray has been somewhat radio silent in terms of his lifts. But Ray doesn't need to, and this is no disrespect to any of these other gentlemen, he doesn't need to come in and light the world on fire to take this U.S. Raw Nationals. So if he's got stuff going on in his life, and life, comes up sometimes, and he's focusing on some other things, like he may or may not have to. I don't know what his training's like. You do.
I do.
You do for sure. But so I don't know how much you can let in terms of letting the cat out the bag. If we're gonna he's gonna win and he's gonna go to the SBD Invitational Raw World. Like we don't know the numbers. We don't know who's going to SBD Invitational. We can only assume. We're just gonna throw this out here. Let's prophesize. He's gonna do the big meets and he's probably gonna come and he's gonna set the world on fire. Are you able to say what to expect at US Raw Nationals, or is it in a week?
I'll give you a little bit of information, and let's go ahead and I'm gonna work from the bottom up.
Do it.
Okay. I think there's four people on this list that we've got to keep our eye on. Trey Roberson is going to be relevant. I've got Trey coming in third. Okay, and the only reason that I've got him coming in third, and this is no disrespect to Trey, is because Jason Mike is dealing with some injuries. Jason, I would ordinarily pick coming in second. I think we all know that he tried to get down to 120. Yeah. He made it very clear that he had every intention of cutting all the way down to 120. Jason did come really, really close, but I think he got down to the last few kilos. It was just like, man, my strength has gone in the tank and just literally gone in the gutter. So he's trying, and I think he just kind of abandoned ship. But he's dealing with some injuries. He just gave up to cutting down to 120. He'll be the lightest guy there. I mean, in terms of the 120 pluses, he's trying to put some weight back on. He'll still have the biggest bench just because he's an extraordinary bencher. Phenomenal bencher. So I mean, no question, he's going to have the highest bench. He's not. I don't see him being able to duplicate his American record, which is 281 kilos. I don't see him being able to do that, but he will have the highest bench. And only because he's injured am I not picking him to be on the podium. Otherwise, I would be picking Jason. But I've got Trey Roberson coming in third, and I've got Trevor Thomas. He's a 25-year-old big kid, man. Yeah. He's got a big bench on himself as well. And he's put on 12.5 kilos of body weight.
He stood out to me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Since his last meet, he's seen some rapid increases on his total. And like I said, has put on a significant amount of body weight. So I expect Trevor to come in second place, which is really cool. You know what I mean? Getting into prime time and coming in second, basically to the king. And so when you talk about Ray, obviously, the last taste that he had in his mouth was a bad one. It was the situation that we ran into in Sweden where, catastrophe happened and he bombed out. And so we've been trying to, we've swallowed that. We've chewed on it for a while. And now it's time for him to try to get the bad taste out of his mouth. This is a really tough time of year, the fall. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just keeping it real for Ray, the summers and the fall are really tough. Ray is a football coach down in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so he's out on the field day in and day out, was out during these summer practices in August. It's really, really difficult for Ray to keep his body weight up. I mean, it's a struggle. The lighter lifters struggle with the cutting, and with Ray and these supers, it's really hard to keep his body weight up. So through the fall, we really struggle to keep the weight packed on him because he's outdoors all day long coaching these football players and so forth. And furthermore, in addition to the football coaching throughout the fall, he just recently got married. So congratulations, he's newlywed.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he went on his honeymoon during this prep. So we lost a little bit of time there. He's also coming up on completing his doctorate in December, in addition to welcoming another baby in December.
So there's a lot of life going on right now.
Yeah, a lot of life. And that's, look, again, every single person coming into Raw Nationals, all 1,300 plus, everybody's got their own life story and their own life context. Nobody is getting paid here to lift weights. Nobody is getting
Not yet.
Not yet. Right. Not yet.
We'll talk about that later, but yeah.
The landscape could change, but nobody is getting paid to just go in there and sling weights. So everybody comes in with their own story and their own context, and that's just to say that this is his current story. So we don't look to light the world on fire at Raw Nationals. We are going in to secure the W so that he can secure the national team berth. We want to go 9 for 9. We want to make every single lift we possibly can. I've been telling him that's the best way to get a bad taste out of your mouth after bombing is to go in and lift well, to execute well, and to put, and Ray's going to be the best that he can be on that given day, given his current set of circumstances. Mm-hmm. So are we going to go out there and hit any PBs? No, of course not. Not at this meet, but that's not what we're after. Mm-hmm. What we're after is securing the W, keeping him healthy, and punching our ticket to go to Belarus.
Because since I had a feeling since he'd been posting less lifting and more real life stuff, which you're getting married, you're having kids, that's some significant stuff, man. That's not small. That's life-changing stuff. You got to be present for that. And then going on a honeymoon and whatnot, he's earned it. I dare say, consistently, year in, year out, doing U.S. Raw Nationals, doing the Arnold Classic, doing every single one of the Worlds, and always showing up. He's earned the right to be able to look at, I'm going to show up, and I'm going to put forward the best I can, and I'm going to get the W, but I got to live a little bit, because there's other people in my life, like my wife, the mother of my children, who see me sacrifice, and I can't just keep being selfish and being she could say, you could take a week off, we're going on a honeymoon. Or you're going to be here for me when this, that, and the other happens. Prepping for a wedding and whatnot. We know that a lot of stuff goes into it. So he's still going to be the king. He's going to reclaim his crown. And he's going to start solidifying that base, that platform for which to stand on and reach when it comes to the SBD Invitational. We can only assume they haven't released the lifters, but we can only assume Ray's going to be in there. It'd be a shock if he wasn't. World Championship, et cetera, et cetera. These are the competitions we'll look at. But looking at those, you see those coming. Jason Mike, that 281. Real quick, I just want to say, I remember that was actually a world record in Calgary. And he'd been chasing that as a master. He'd been chasing that for so long. The story of a man chasing a record, and he finally hit it in Calgary, and it was one of the best moments in the Calgary World Championships. I remember he dropped to his knees on the platform, and I could not have been happier for the guy. Because he wanted it so bad. When you see a master chasing an open world record, it's always pretty special. He probably won't hit that this time, but when you said the 181, I just remembered that scene and seeing him. He's like, I did it, man, I did it. I was like, I know you did it, man, you did it. We were both super happy for you. Yeah, it was a good moment. But there you have it. Listen, man, we are getting close to 25 minutes past the deadline. It seems to always happen, my friend. We're going to schedule you earlier next time. But you are like the guy at the bar who can keep talking into staying for one more beer. 5 more minutes. But listen, muchly appreciated. I won't keep you any longer. We banged it out. We even got our picks for the best lifter of the tournament out the way. So I think it was, dude, you're the best in the business when it comes to scouting, handling, and podcasting. Tell people your podcast, by the way, because if you like Gabriel, look, when I said who do you want on the preview shows? Because I was going to have more than just us, right? It's always going to be you. Like newsflash, like I consider you a co-host, like Caffrey, like Paul, like Randy. I consider you like that. But I meant someone else on as well as, and everyone was saying Matt Gary, and I'm like, well, no shit, Matt Gary. But who else? But you know how many people said, like, everybody was just give us Matt Gary and we're good. So then I was like, all right, whatever. It's just going to be Matt Gary, all killer. And you know what? We just wrap up like 2 hours like that. I don't know if we need somebody else, to tell you the truth. It might just get clustered. The way we start talking, man, it'll turn into a 4-hour podcast. But,
yeah, right.
But I want to tell everybody your podcast, because everybody freaking loves you on this podcast and keeps saying you got to bring Matt on for the recaps, for the preview shows. So tell everybody your podcast and where to get you direct as well.
Well, yeah, first of all, thank you so much for the love. I genuinely appreciate everybody that's had kind words to say about me. I'm honored to come on your podcast. I love what you're doing for the sport of powerlifting, how you're pushing it forward, how you show all these people shine. You know, it is a cult sport. It's an underground sport, but you're helping, and you're instrumental in bringing it into, you know, making this thing more mainstream. So much love to you, and I just feel honored to be on. And thank you to your listeners. If they want to listen to my podcast, it's the SSPT Upholding the Standard is the name of the podcast. We're on iTunes or Stitcher, so you can find us in those two places. My wife and I have been a little bit delinquent on putting out podcasts. We try to aim for we're not like you. We don't churn them out every couple of days. But we're not on that level. We kind of aim for about one per month, but people can engage with us there. Of course, they can find us on our website, which is just supremesportspt.com, or they can find me on Instagram at mlgary72.
There you go. And rest assured, if we got a preview show, we got a recap show, my man is getting the invite. Don't worry about that. So catch him on his podcast. Catch him on King of the List as per usual. Gary, thank you a million. My man, you lived up to the hype. You come ready and prepared, and I love the picks. God bless, my friend. I'll see you next time.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
And there you have it. I mean, you can't find another freaking guy in the business as good as Matt Gary when it comes to scouting reports, when it comes to his picks, when it comes to, I mean, in terms of handling, this dude has been involved, and there's some phenomenal handlers out there on all the different national teams. But Matt Gary has been in the business since the 90s, and he's seen all of the greats do their thing since then, from the early 90s, maybe even late 80s, right up until now. And how many national world championships he's been involved in, national championships, handling all over the world in all different eras and seeing it all. I can't say enough about my man. And his podcast, although seldom coming out, I listened to his recap show from the Sweden World Championships, and he is Ray Williams, not only handler, but coach as well. So he doesn't only just run numbers and help with the attempt selection, and he does that, and he's phenomenal at it, but he also does the programming for Ray. So he can give you the inside track on Ray if you're missing a little bit there, and he could break down like how many Bryce Lewis, Sam Calhoun. I mean, these are some of the biggest names in powerlifting, and he does the handling for them as well. So he's, in terms of like game day approach, he's got to be the guy you have on your podcast. Just phenomenal, and one of the nicest guys you're going to meet. If you see him and you know what he looks like, and you see him in the competition, 100% you can walk up to him, talk about his picks, get a picture with him, and this dude is super duper approachable. So there is, people have been asking about the USAPL Raw Nationals show, and there it is. There's our picks. All right. Some people are going to disagree, and I mean, I don't even fully blame you. Some of these picks, I'm like, you could flip a coin. I could be talked to either which way. It is hard, man. It's hard, and some people aren't coming 100%, like a David Wilson, for instance. Ordinarily things could shake up there, but his injury looked pretty rough. Sean Noriega as well. It's tough, man. It is tough sometimes. You're like, they're not 100%. If they were 100%, you'd be far more convinced. But if they're not 100%, you're kind of guesswork. And then there's other people that, you could flip a coin between Meg and Sam and Jen. You know, if you got to, or roll the dice or whatever. There's no three-way coin, but that's a three-way battle. I can be talked to either which way. Same with the 74 kilo boys after Taylor. You know, some of these picks and the 57 kilo women. I mean, we did both pick the same person, but that is a tight race. Those girls are within 10 kilo of each other, and it is super tight. You have some runaway winners like Heather Connor, Taylor, Orhe, Ray, look solid. Dennis Cornelius, they look solid. And then you have some of these weight classes, 63 kilo, 57 kilo. You know, I can be talked into. You know, I can't. You could talk me either which way with some of these fellas. 66 kilo between the Garcias and, you know, I mean, I can be talked into either which way, man. I mean, some of these are very tight races. Believe me, I'm not knocking nobody. If I didn't pick you, it's not because I don't believe in you. It's some of these picks are real tough. Gun to the head. You got to pick somebody. And also sometimes I'm purposely contradicting what Matt's picking because I like opposing views sometimes. Sometimes if I know Matt's swinging one way, I'm going to swing the other just so we have a little bit of contrast to back on. So not everybody's picking, yeah, I agree the exact same, Matt. Well, we get to have a bit of a discussion and we get to see how it shakes up. So there you have it. Post this. I'm going to post this. I know I'm going to get some feedback on it. I know it's not all going to be positive. Give me the feedback. Throw it down in the comments. Hit me in the DMs. Repost the pics and let us know what you think. Put it in your Instagram stories. I will repost. You know, I will reply to the DMs. If you want a discussion on it, we'll rock and roll. Post in the comments. We can debate. It's all good. I get it. It's sports. I love debating sports. It's business, not personal. But help by giving exposure to the sport because we're trying to bring exposure to it. This is our ESPN. This is our Sports Center. You know, it's social media. This is how we do it. We're not on the major networks yet. So give light to this and let's have some discussion. Okay? Until next time, from my man Matt Gary, Six Pack Lapidat. Peace.